Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. I hope everyone is doing well. We're going to talk about a ton of stuff today. We had the Bitcoin conference. We're going to discuss that a bit. Of course, we have the XRP Las Vegas is going on right now. So we're going to talk some about that and some XRP news, of course, some crypto news. And I'm here to answer as many questions as I possibly can from you guys. So just wanted to say hello. I hope everybody is doing well. I see that we have some people here. Matt is here asking some questions. Early, we got Dutch military vet. Hello from Amsterdam. Hello, Dutch military vet. Nice to see you. We got Scarface here. Great to see you, Scarface, as ever. Amazing Switzerland says, greetings from Switzerland. Great to see you. Amazing. How are you? Crypto J. What's up, Crypto J? Aloha from the Bahamas. Hello. Nice to have you here. Great to have you. Brian's here. What's up, Brian? Great to see you. We got Vadim here. What's up, Vadim? How's it going, my friend? All right. We got Stacy here, just checking in from Alabama. Really enjoy your content. Stacy, I really appreciate you being here. Crypto J says he's here from New Mexico. Great to have you here. Love to see you. Oh, snap. We got Chipper here. We got David here. We got Steve from Vancouver, British Columbia. That sounds just beautiful, man. Great to have you here, Steve. How long will the shakeout last? My account is down 80K this month. I think that can be said with all of crypto, right? Like we go through these peaks and valleys. And sometimes these peaks can be pretty nice. And if we don't, take profit in the time, we're going to head back down and kind of reassess. And so looks like that's what the market's doing right now. And the only advice that I can give you that I've experienced in past bull markets is you have to just kind of bite your lip and get through it. Bitcoin can drop 20-30% and the market can follow, right? And then there's black swan events. There's all of these different things that, we don't just head straight upwards. And so, if a lot of experts are predicting Bitcoin is going to go to 150 or 200,000 or 250,000 this year, and we just hit 110,000, it does feel like we do have a lot more market ahead of us. And if you look at Bitcoin's history in June, I believe since 2010 we've only had 4 red months with Bitcoin, and 3 of them were like 2010, 11, and 12. It's supposed to be a really good month for Bitcoin. And, there's a lot of really bullish things happening right now in the crypto space. So I'd imagine that we will be heading back up. Just how long is that going to take? It's anybody's guess, but let's get back to some other people here. We got Jay, the shooter here. What's up, Jay? Anthony's here. We got Samuel here. What's up, man? How's it going? A lot of really cool people here from all over the world. Great to see you. What's up? Richard's here. Good to have you here, Richard. Aloha Friday from Las Vegas. Oh, are you at the event? You got to be, right? See, you know what, though? The World Series of Poker is happening at the same time as the XRP Las Vegas thing. And I feel like Sensei Rob would love to be at the XRP Las Vegas, but Robert himself would probably like to be at the poker table. So maybe it's good I don't have to pick between the two. But I'm glad you're there having fun, man. We're gonna take a look at some pictures and different things from around there. XTC is taking a beating. It seems like the market in general is taking a beating. Let's go ahead and just pull it up here, guys. We do have about 300 people here in the chat already, so if you guys can share the space, I would really appreciate it. If you can do that, I would be very thankful for you. Let's pull up Coin Market Cap here, and let's go ahead and share this. All right, let's just take a look at what's happening here. Ooh, down 3.59% to 104,000. Yes. It is red after, we did have a few weeks of green there, right? So, it sucks to see XRP down at $2.16, but I also see a lot of people in my comments saying, well, we get to buy XRP at $2 again, so yes, it sucks if you want profits right now, but if we're looking in the long run, you just got to look at the long haul of this whole thing. I imagine the market's still going to be good till the end of this year, unless something crazy happens with tariffs and the economy and stuff like that. But it is across the board here. Look at all of this red. Let's just look at the top 100 in the last 7 days. The only thing realistically that I would buy here, we got Quant up 12%, which is interesting. Toncoin's up 7%. Crypto.com's up 3%, and then the rest of the market is, of course, in the red. And the highest in the top 100 down 30%. Fartcoin, Bonk, Pingu. So these are meme coins, right? Radium here, there's not as much trading on meme coins. So of course, one of the bigger dexes on Solana that people use to trade meme coins are obviously going to be down. Sonic down is down here at 20%. That might be something to pay attention to. Render's down. Floki's down. Caspa's down here at almost 9 cents. That might be a move. Mutable X, 54 cents. Man, XTC here's down 15%, below $1 billion market cap. That could be an opportunity for some. All right, let's go ahead and let's take a look at some of this news here. Yeah, Zbic was on a roll this week, man. Zbic did some crazy stuff. Let me pull that up, actually. I'm glad somebody said something. Zbic. Let's see here. Oh, my goodness. It went crazy. Look at this. $273 million 24-hour, $500 million market cap. Wow. Man, people have been talking about Zbic in this chat for a few months now. And if you'd have just been in one of these chats and listened to what people were saying, you would have been able to buy Zbic down here and just make a really nice, 10x here. Let's go ahead and just better understand what's going on. Of course, I want to talk about Bitcoin a bit, and then what I want to do is get into some XRP stuff, because I've seen a lot of people reposting some news that I just don't think is accurate. I think we need to address it as a community. But you know what? Let's just take a look at what's kind of going on with Bitcoin. It looks like in England, there is a candidate running for PM, it looks like, and he says that he wants to make Bank of England to hold Bitcoin. So I think what you're seeing here is you're seeing candidates from around the world seeing how the Trump administration leaned into crypto and really did get a large part of the population to back him because of that. And I think a lot of other people are looking for their own victories, and they're going to use any way to get it, right? And so I don't know anything about Farage. I don't really know anything about UK politics, so I won't begin to say, is this guy good or bad for the UK? That's not really for me to say, but I'm just seeing a trend here of world leaders trying to connect with, a younger voter, and crypto is the way that they are doing it. You also had JD Vance talking about cryptocurrency, and this is the vice president, and when he speaks, people do listen and pay attention. Let's go ahead and better understand what he's talking about here when it comes to crypto and the modern digital age.
I'm an owner of Bitcoin here, but I'm also the vice president of the United States. So I want to be careful, but I think the core value proposition of cryptocurrency is that it's a way of transacting and a way of storing value in a modern digital age. Look, 100 years ago, if you wanted to go and buy something, you put a dollar bill on the table, you put a gold coin on the table. The value proposition of Bitcoin is that it can serve the same function, but in a digital age, a way that's secure, that's safer from fraud, that allows people to buy and sell and store value, but in a way that's consistent with the modern technological age that we live in. Now, having said that, I fully accept there are risks to all of these things. There are always risks to new technologies. Our approach in the Trump administration is to say, let people innovate. Let people figure this stuff out on their own. If the critics of Bitcoin are right, I happen to think that they're wrong. That will eventually win out in the marketplace. If the advocates of Bitcoin are right, and I happen to agree with them, if they make their case, that's eventually going to win out in the marketplace. What you shouldn't have is a dictatorial government that tells certain industries they're not allowed to do what they need to do. You've got to let people make these decisions on their own.
Fair point.
That's sort of been our approach. We want common sense regulatory regimes. We want to allow the cryptocurrency industry to participate in the mainstream of the economy. But then ultimately, the laws of economics, the laws of supply and demand are going to make the determinations from there.
And you know what? I really like what JD Vance is saying here. Let me just take this down real quick. I had this put up there. The only thing that I think gets a little eerie for me here is the lack of, we basically went from regulating everybody and holding back innovation in America to now everything goes. And it's good for the development of crypto in general in the US, but I think when we're talking about a free for all in the crypto space, I do start to get a little anxious, and I start to get a little uncomfortable. The reason for that is, there's still so many scams. I see it every day. I live and breathe it every single day. I hear these horrible stories from people that are continuously getting scammed, and I just don't think we're doing enough to fight back against that. And I love this new open way of government. That's great, but we still need to protect the law-abiding citizens and taxpayers that are using these technologies. So that's all I'll say about that. But great to have great to have the president and the vice president out here rooting for crypto. And here is all of Bitcoin Maxi here. A lot of Bitcoin heavy people in this photo here. You got the Winklevoss twins in the background here. You got Eric Trump here. You have Don Jr. here. I don't know. This is not Don Jr. It's not his wife, is it? No, it cannot be. Is that Stevie Aoki? Oh, that's pretty cool to see Stevie Aoki there. I don't know who any of these other people are, though. All right, let's keep it going. You do see Tether is now going to invest billions of dollars into Bitcoin mining. The only thing here, like, Tether is going to invest billions of dollars into Bitcoin mining, but they can't invest money into a real audit. Does anyone find that at all hilarious, right? Hey, we'll go spend billions of dollars on mining equipment for Bitcoin, but we're not going to pay like a few $1 million to have a reputable company audit our books. That's just insane, people. Like, don't expect too much out of us, right? I just think some of this is just kind of a comedy. Pakistan to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So we're going to see what that looks like. But a lot of countries are, doing similar actions. All right, I don't want to talk too much about Bitcoin because, we are an XRP ISO focused channel here. But you do have XRP Las Vegas kicking off. So a lot of names that you see every day in the crypto space. I like how meme coins were able to get on here. The Phoenix on the XRPL. I wonder how much it costs to be on the top banner here, how much they charge, but interesting to see, right? MoonPay, XRP Market, use that, XRP Cafe, Caleb and Brown's on here too. Although I've heard some not so amazing stories about Caleb and Brown from a few people. I do wonder, is that going to last? Here you go. Uphold looks like they're finding ways to Uphold exploring ways to unlock yield on XRP, including testing XRP staking through Flare networks. So if you have your XRP on Uphold, just a reminder, when you have your cryptocurrency on an exchange, if something were to happen to that exchange, your cryptocurrency would I don't want to say be lost forever, but it is I can tell you it is a multi-year process to get your crypto back. If you remember Celsius failed back, I think it was like 21 or 22. They are just now getting around to issuing back, pennies on the dollar for the people that did lose their crypto. So that is just, one example, but there are many in the crypto space. So just be careful about this. You also have Hashkey Group looking to make some moves and officially rolled out XRP trading available exclusivity for institutional investors. So a lot of stuff being pushed towards institutional investors. All right, now we got to talk about something that I did a video on yesterday. I have seen way too many very, very smart XRP channels reposting this. And listen, I can't harp on it too much. I think we all are in a space where there's a lot of fake information being pushed through. And sometimes we just don't catch it, right? Sometimes we like what we are hearing. And instead of doing that like extra layer of due diligence on what we're hearing, we just repost it, right? And I feel like this is what's happening with this. When I did actual research and I had this document scanned in AI, it came up with some information that didn't look very good. And so here was that search. I don't know if you guys saw my video that I put out yesterday on this, but I basically put the document in here and I asked Perplexity to, is this real, right? Is this real? And it says the document shown claims to be an official announcement from the Saudi Aramco Kingdom of Saudi Arabia regarding White Rock oil tokenization. and the White Rock Network and the XRP ledger. However, based on the available evidence and current reporting, this document almost certainly is not authentic. So you are going to see a lot of your favorite XRP related channels reposting this. I have told my team to stay far away from this because I don't think it is legitimate. If we get some real information that comes forward from a reputable news agency or Ripple themselves retweeting things like this, I will let you know. But right now, this White Rock news appears to be fake. I also will take that one step further in looking and reading through all of this. Where did this start? The claim appears to have originated from a social media account widely circulated as rumor. So this didn't come from a news agency or didn't come from Aramco itself. So, an announcement like this, you would want to go to Aramco's website, which is right here under their latest news. You would be able to see this. Their latest news was May 22nd, 2025. And so when I search XRP on here, no results. As you can see down here, let me just show you that again. XRP search, no results. White network, right? It's in white network. It comes up with these things just because it's white, but no white network has anything to do with this. Or if you search White Rock, there are no results. So this appears to be false information that people are just retweeting. And so there are some people finally saying that alert, don't fall for this fake reports. I didn't see any of this like reposted yesterday. This was, probably after I recorded my video. I don't know if some people watched that, but if you're wondering what video this was, let me just show you here really quickly. View your channel, videos, and then it was this video right. Oh wait. 22 hours ago, I think it was this video. Tokenization with White Rock. Yes, that is this video. Okay, so if you wanted to better understand this and have me go into a little bit more detail on this, guys, there is the link for the video. I'm not going to talk about this too much because it is false. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I am doing everything I can when I see stuff like this to do extra due diligence, because I know when I share things to you, I want them to obviously be real, right? Something that we can actually talk about and discuss. And when there's fake stuff spread around the community, it makes it a little bit more difficult, to connect with you guys and to could it be Coke? I don't know what we're talking about their future. Decent wallets are the best. All right. I've lost some of you on this, but it's all good. All right, let's keep going. This is real though. This is something that I think Brad Garlinghouse ended up retweeting. Nasdaq listed Vivo Power has raised $221 million to launch XRP focused treasury. Now, what's interesting about this piece of news is that you're starting to see more and more companies getting into crypto strategic reserves for their companies. And what I want you to understand here is, I think this is, a marathon. And right now it's the start of the marathon. And you are starting to see companies make decisions where they think the crypto market is here to stay. They think there's going to be a lot of money to be made in the crypto market. And these companies are actively taking money that they have in their, tills and their treasuries, and they are investing it into crypto. And we're starting to see, $200 million, $300 million wanting to be put into XRP and some of these treasuries. So it's really cool to see this starting to unfold. I want you to imagine a time over the next few years where you're going to have every top 500 company in America and probably global that is going to be having some type of crypto strategy. There's also banks, credit unions, and financial institutions that are also going to do this as well. And so we always talk about banks buying or companies buying, and we really haven't seen, what that truly looks like. And we're starting to see that starting to drip in. So it's pretty cool to see that. And man, I'm looking forward to seeing how all this goes. And Brad Garlinghouse retweeted this. So also too, that was another thing I was looking for. If Brad Garlinghouse is retweeting the White Rock thing, and it just, it appears to all be, not real. And there's also this 300 million strategic reserve China's Weebus International Limited has announced 300 million strategic financing plan to acquire XRP. You know, it only takes a few of these companies. Why is this important? Let me read some of this stuff to you from Paul Barron. Weebus International Limited, a provider of AI-driven mobility solutions specializing in premium chauffeur services, announced a potential 300 million. So just remember, it's potential 300 million in strategic financing plan to integrate XRP blockchain technology for global payment solutions, and renewed its nationwide partnership with Tongjiang Travel Holdings Limited, one of China's largest online travel platforms. I don't really need to get into too much of the nitty-gritty details here, but just know that you know, there's more and more companies that are working towards this evolution of crypto adoption. It did look like we have RLUSD went live on 3 new exchanges. Saudi Prince announces XRP strategic reserve. Real Ondo announces tokenized treasury on the XRPL. XRP minus 6%. Obviously, we've gotten a lot of good news, but the price keeps going backwards. All right, I thought this was a cool video. I haven't shown this in one of my videos yet, but let me just show you. I just saw this today.
What is money? How is money created? And if our current money system is broken, like, what's a better alternative?
People have lost faith in fiat currencies.
The debt is so out of control that the whole system has to be reset or rebooted.
The government has a history of taking assets.
The Federal Reserve can basically create as much money as they want.
The bureaucracy beast system has been weaponized against the American people.
This is just the beginning. A new era of financial freedom where individuals can control their own money.
This blockchain revolution that Satoshi started.
There's going to be a reckoning, and we're not going to like it, for sure.
All right, kind of cool video. This is interesting. I'm seeing a lot of people posting about Hidden Road's address being 589 Fifth Avenue. So people are joking about 589 because Brad Garlinghouse is following 589. And I don't know, people are just reposting this too. Here is XRP Las Vegas. If you're wondering what it looks like, if you haven't seen pictures on Twitter yet, here is the event. Obviously, you know, one day this event could be much larger. I think this is kind of like a quarter of a ballroom or something like that, or half a ballroom. But looks pretty cool. I mean, compared to like Bitcoin, you know, 2025 or whatever, this is a much smaller event, but a lot of really amazing people. I definitely will be attending next year's event. I don't have any hip surgery planned, so I'm looking forward to meeting some of you guys and having, you know, take some pictures and chatting about XRP. All right. You also have some new ad, I believe. This is like a 9-second ad. Let me just play this. It's happening. Like Ripple has changed their, here, let me show you this. Ripple has changed their, hold on. It has changed their, what is this, like a, it's not a thumbnail, it's border. I don't know what the name of this thing is. I do apologize, my mind's blank, but Ripple has you know, started to post this kind of stuff. And when I was looking at some of this research, hold on, where is it? Is it at the end here? Hold on, I thought I had a breakdown of what this means. Maybe I was building a video with that. I do apologize. I thought I had a breakdown in this of what that means, but I cannot seem to find it. Oh, well, I'll bring that into a video for you guys. But here's just a more video recordings of the event. Here, just to show you what this looks like. All right, there's also, you know, this report came out too. The rise of XRP Treasury thesis. The XRP Treasury thesis is gaining traction. Companies like Vivo Power, Logistics, leveraging XRP payments and reserves with Dubai tokenizing real estate on the XRP ledger. I think this is like new use cases that you're starting to see, or people, companies really, you know, taking hold of what XRP can deliver for their companies. And I think this is really cool. Because if you start to see like a few companies starting to do this, you're going to get more and more companies that are interested in doing this. It really just requires the first, 5 or 10 to show that it can be done. And then other companies are like, hey, we could probably do that too. And so it says a shift is happening. Digital assets are no longer just speculative vehicles. They're becoming functional components of corporate finance, integrated into balance sheets, used for payments, and considered strategic reserves. And it says this month, Vivo Power and Wellgistics announced that they would be working with the XRP ledger to integrate blockchain into their infrastructures. It says these aren't blockchain startups. These are traditional companies now positioning XRP as infrastructure. And so, this is just a good read too. If you want to take a look at this, I'll post it. But I'm just going to get through a little bit more news, guys, and then I'm here to answer all of your questions. Okay. So I did want to show you some information that I'm tracking and following. During these chats, I like to give you a good understanding of what's happening with the economy, good or bad. The S&P officially posted its best month since November of 2023, rising 6.2%. This is driven by retail investors buying into stocks when institutions seem to be kind of cashing out and sitting on the sidelines waiting for what's coming ahead. So Wall Street Journal reports that the U.S.-China trade deal is risk of falling apart. And so I wanted to better understand this. And it looks like, they're having some issues between China and the United States on rare earth minerals. So if you're not familiar with rare earth minerals, let me see. I'm sharing this. Rare earth minerals. China actually has the infrastructure to process a lot of this stuff. They don't do a lot of this in the U.S. due to chemicals and things like that getting into the ground and water, and there's just a lot of things that are allowed in China that aren't allowed in the United States. And so this is a negotiating tool, I guess, that they are using, and it's kind of falling apart. And so if you're not caught up with this, the U.S. and China have had tariffs on each other on some goods. This was raised to like 130 or 145%. Like I think it was like last month or month before, and then it was lowered to 30%. And it looks like that is now falling apart. And so it says China U.S. Embassy spokesperson says China has repeatedly raised concerns regarding U.S. abuse of export control measures in the semiconductor sector. So another kind of thing that they're going back and forth on. The U.S. is planning a wider technology sanctions on China. So if you're not familiar, the deal with the U.S. and China on tariffs, it was never a signed deal. It was more of like a verbal communication of we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we're going to work on a deal. And so now this is just kind of falling apart. And so tariffs could go back to the 145% level. We just don't know how this is all going to unfold. This is just not ideal. U.S. Trade Representative Gear says China's behavior is completely unacceptable. So you can see kind of more shade being thrown from both sides. And then, of course, it's quite remarkable. President Trump effectively just said that the U.S.-China trade deal is not working. Yet the stock market futures are down less than 0.03%. This is followed by the U.S. Trade Representative Gear stating that the U.S. is very concerned about China's non-compliance on trade. So we don't really know how this is going to pan out, folks, but just expect, that this could go back up. U.S. stock market futures fall sharply as President Trump says China has violated the trade deal with the U.S. Kind of the same story that we've had back and forth here. And then Scott Bessent says the trade deals with China have stalled. All right. And if you're wondering, so, how all this is going, tariffs were paused until July 9th. It was a 90-day pause. A lower court came in and basically said, the tariffs were, not going to be allowed, and a court blocked the Trump administration from imposing the tariffs. Then a higher court repealed that, and so the tariffs are now back on. So we've had this very kind of stop-start situation on tariffs over the last few months, and let me just see if I have that clip here really quickly. Yeah, here you go. So it's truly an incredible market of all time. We have gone from reciprocal tariffs to a 90-day pause to a U.S. Court of International Trade reversing tariffs to a U.S. appeals court overturning the Court of International Trade. Now tariffs are back again. So as you can see, like if you're a company trying to plan here, like what's going to happen, things are changing every day. So it's very difficult to do that. And it's just kind of fun to watch all this. I mean, it's not fun as in like people's lives are getting fucked up, but it is like, you know, I've never seen a negotiation quite like this. Let me just say. You also have Jamie Dimon says that he is quite prepared to rates to go above 5%. So we've been talking about the bond market here a lot in the United States, how that if it goes above 5%, that's kind of a big warning sign that things could get a little bit out of control. Remember, these are the rates that kind of set, some of your credit cards and loans, short-term loans and things like that. And as these rates get higher, it's more expensive to do pretty much everything when it comes to, buying a car, a home, all of that stuff. Asian countries own more U.S. assets than ever before. The 11th largest Asian nations have purchased $4.7 trillion in U.S. equities and bonds since 1997 Asian financial crisis. That brings the total investment to about $7.5 trillion. Most of these investments are held by Japan and China at $1.8 trillion and $1.1 trillion, respectively. This followed by Taiwan, Hong Kong, South Korea, and Singapore at 650, 470, 340 billion, 320 billion, respectively. Asian exposure to U.S. financial assets is massive. And so if you're interested in who holds the most U.S. debt, as you can see here, it's Japan, followed by mainland China, and then, of course, Taiwan, and then Hong Kong, Korea, Singapore, and then others. All right. And then there is some good news that we saw. This is not that. This is the good news that we saw here. April PCE inflation, the Fed's preferred inflation measure, falls to 2.1%. Below expectations of 2.2%. Core PCE inflation falls 2.5%, in line with expectations of 2.5%. PCE inflation is now at the lowest level since September 2024. All eyes on the Fed. Remember, the Fed has been kind of sitting on their hands. They understand that tariffs can be inflationary. Unemployment will obviously be going up as companies have to lay off workers. Because, this right here is what you should be focused on. U.S. goods imports fall almost 20% in April as President Trump's reciprocal tariffs effectively halted trade with many countries. So what this basically means, guys, you're going to have 19.8% less goods on shelves, right? Because if you have imports fall 19.8%, that means those goods are not being imported into the United States. And that means you are going to see this definitely on shores. I know when I said, you're going to see some shelves empty here over the next, few months, I still stand very behind what I said there. I know pissed some people off, but if you're following the data, it's very clear that shelves are going to start, disappearing on some of this stuff. And obviously, if trade deals cannot be reached, it's going to be a problem. Oil prices fall on reports that the OPEC may discuss rising oil production by more than 411,000 barrels per day beginning in July. OPEC continues to raise production into a weak oil market. So as you can see, oil is dropping here, which might, be a good thing for people, less money on gas. And then we did talk about the tariffs. We talked about that. The Trump administration is trying to push through a new bill here, one big, beautiful bill. It's going to give a lot of tax cuts to Americans. And so I'm not going to get into this too much because this bill can obviously change. It got passed in the House. They are waiting to see how the Senate changes this bill. So I don't really want to read to you all of the stuff here that's in it because this could change. But it's supposed to, boost GDP. The Trump administration officials and congressional supporters argue that the bill will boost GDP by 4.2 to 5.2%, increase take-home pay for a typical family up to $13,000. and workers by as much as 11,600. Create and save between 6.6 and 7.4 million full-time jobs over the next 4 years. Expand child tax credit to provide new tax relief for seniors, small businesses, and a few other things. It is set to add $3.8 trillion to the deficit over the next decade. But, what are we going to do? We'll see how that goes. Does look like Circle unlocking global money movement use cases for Circle payments network. The future of money movement is fast, programmable, and borderless. CPN enables financial institutions to conduct real-time cross-border transactions using stablecoins like USDC or EURC, and supplier payments, remittances, global payroll and contractor payouts, treasury and liquidity management. Man, I really wish Ripple would have bought Circle. That would have been really, really cool. I did want to point out, though, this is a project that I brought up to you guys several months ago, actually. I mean, this was maybe like 2-3 months ago. JOS, Build on Julia. This is something that was brought up in the Kryptonaires Discord. And there was a low point of about $5 million where I bought a little bit. This was at 20 million just the other day. I think it's at about 17 million now. Let me just show you this really quickly. I think it's on Dex Screener. Hold on one second. JOS. Let me just show you. It's at 16.61 million right now. As you can see, it's on a dip here. This has a high point of 20 million. All right. And so we brought this. Actually, it has a high point of a little higher here. As you can see here, man, this is really the tough place to pop above here. As you can see, it rejected once, twice, 3 times. So you can see that is the area of resistance for this. And so if you can see it break 21 million, we're probably off to the races. But might be on a dip here if people are interested. I know I get DMs all the time asking me about this. So here is the chart. I do apologize. You're looking at my beautiful face. Here it is at 16.1 million. Here is the 1, 2, 3 times rejected at the $21 million level. Kind of once it got rejected the 3rd time here, it's kind of dipped down here to 16 million with the rest of the market. I do think when this turns around, it will turn around. All right. Let's answer your questions. I know that's what you're here for. I am ready to answer as many as I can. I'm late. Can we start over? We can't start over, Lizard King. You didn't miss too much. We talked about a little bit about Bitcoin conference. We talked about XRP. We talked about some of the fake news, being shared right now in the XRP community. We addressed the White Rock stuff, and we talked about Weebus and a bunch of other stuff. But this is kind of the part where I'm going to answer as many questions as I can for you guys in, the next hour, give or take, maybe a little bit longer if I can deal with it. Question. I like it. He even put question. Mick Knife Stabber. That is an interesting name. I don't want to ask where the name came from. Let's just go to your question here. When Americans own 50 to 75% of Bitcoins, then the rest of the world adopts crypto. Why would they want to enter another Western monetary slave system? Shit. I mean, you're absolutely right. I don't have a great answer to that question. I think it's a mistake that what the U.S. is trying to just focus only on Bitcoin. I say that a lot in my content. I think we are actively ignoring, all of the American blockchain companies. I live in America. Been in America since I was born 40 years ago, and so I'm very patriotic for my country, and I wanted to see good things happen. And I don't agree with the government wanting to buy 1 million Bitcoin. Like, buy 500,000 Bitcoin, and then put the other 30 or 40 billion dollars into supporting American companies. That is what I think should happen, but that's not what they're going to do. But thank you for the question. What is a nice bag of XRP? I think a nice bag of XRP really varies of who you are, right? If you are a hardworking, 9 to 5, you are struggling to make do with every month. You are feeding your kids or your family, and you're not making more than enough money to put extra money into crypto. You might only have a bag of 1,000 XRP or a few thousand XRP. And then obviously, if you are 1% and you don't have to work, if you're like a trust fund kid or something like that, you could probably own millions of XRP. So it really is going to vary with the person. And I think that, people that have 1,000 XRP or 500 XRP, they shouldn't be discouraged, because I still think over the next, several years, they're going to have some serious money. What is your think on Ronin? So Ronin network, let's go ahead and pull this up so people know exactly what we're talking about. I like the question. Haven't done too much research on Ronin recently, but I know that they have their own network here. Let's pull this up. So we're sharing the right tab just to make sure. Was asked a question about Ronin. This is Ronin, $388 million market cap. Let's see here. Right now we've on a dip here. We're at 72 cents. We've dipped all the way down to 59 cents in the last 7 days. So I don't know what happened with Ronin there, but let's just pull up what Ronin is if people are wondering. Forge for game developers. Ronin is a purpose built for gaming, fast, scalable, and battle tested by millions of players. And the question was, what are my thoughts about Ronin? And so anything to do with gaming is probably going to have its run in this bull market. It's just not going to be yet. You usually see like gaming running towards like the middle to the end of the bull market. Bitcoin needs to top out, Ethereum needs to top out, and then altcoins will start going crazy. And I think that is when you will see, Ronin and a lot of stuff on AVAX and other channels pump really well. But I think if you want to own an entire ecosystem, Ronin is a great choice. What I like about Ronin too is it's a whole ecosystem, right? You're not just getting into one project. This is a place for developers of many games. So, the hardest thing in crypto is that, people start to FOMO for the wrong reasons, right? When you're investing in a project that only has one game, it really does sink or swim with the one game. When you are a ecosystem filled with hundreds of games, you have a better opportunity of some of those games going mainstream, and those are the games that will carry your platform. And so obviously Ronin is giving grants to new developers and dApps and DeFi, and I think this is a good one, man. I don't think I've heard any bad things about Ronin recently. So please, Cubic. Oh man, I haven't talked about Cubic in a long time. Cubic is a little out of my comfort level of explaining what Cubic does. I tried to read the white paper on Cubic, and I think I put it down like 5 times or something like that. I just really couldn't get into it. Has anyone seen the white paper on Cubic? Let me see if I can pull it up for you. I mean, you really have to understand. This white paper is intense. I wonder if they redid this white paper, because the one I saw a few years ago was so intense. Yeah, the 74 pages long white paper. So by all means, take it and read it if you're interested. But 7 days, we're up about 5.6% here. Let me see here. Month. Just a lot. Not a lot has happened in the past year in the Cubic ecosystem. As you can see here, in late December in 2024, we pumped pretty nicely, and then it's just kind of been dumping since. So I own a little bit of Cubic. It's on a wallet in my safety deposit box, and so I don't have any strong updates on Cubic. I do apologize. If I did, I would drop them on you. All right, let's see what else we got here. Hold on, let me go turn on my AC, because it's, you know what I'm gonna do? Hold on. I'm under these heavy lights. Let's do this. Let's turn this light down. Oh, that's too much light off. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me just go turn on my AC a little bit. 1 second. Stay here, Luna. Stay here. I'm just turning the air on. All right. Let's see here. What else we got? Any thoughts on ZBIC? Yeah, we've talked about ZBIC quite a lot on the channel. You know, I think it gets brought up almost every week. So a lot of us have bought ZBIC from maybe like a few months back. I mean, from what it looks like, what they're doing is they're going after the payroll space, right? I've heard the CEO talking about, you know, it's like a $10 trillion yearly industry, and they're trying to, you know, work with Ripple and XRP on some stuff, and it seems like they know what's going on. Teach Luna to turn on your AC. Yeah, I wish I could. I wish I could. Yeah, my team's posting it, Richard. I know. Like I tell my editor that, you know, on Tuesdays and Fridays you need to get videos out early. He's just having a bad day today, I guess. So I didn't want to like yell at him for not getting something out on time. But yeah, my team. So Cass, if you're not familiar with like how my channel works and operates, Cass is my editor, and he does all the thumbnails, and he does you know, everything to do with YouTube and uploading and all of the stuff. He works with, you know, the thumbnail designer and all those people, and everything that gets put out is from Cass. I of course have suggestions on what titles I think that he should do, and then he, you know, he tests the thumbnails, he tests the titles, and then if they're not very good, he changes them. What's up, old school? Good to see you, man. Hey, what's your thoughts on Circle IPO? Would you try to get your hands on it now when launching or after? I mean, if it's going to be like the Coinbase IPO, if you remember the Coinbase IPO, that the C-level people dumped a ton of stock, like hundreds of millions of dollars in stock right after Coinbase launched and IPO'd. If it's the same situation, obviously that could be problematic, right? The same thing could happen. You know, obviously if you were going to put like, let's say like $1,000 into it, what I might do is like maybe put 500, and then if it dumps after, then, you know, adjust that down, right? DCA from the drop. It's just hard to say. I think the stock market is kind of like, it's propped up really hard right now by retail investors. And, you know, I'm really looking for institutions to buy back in. I think institutions are sitting on the sidelines right now because of the slowing economy and tariffs and all that stuff. So, you know, what's going to happen to that? You could see a massive drop over the next few months if those things are not addressed. Like the thing that worries me, like the thing that I lose sleep over sometimes is of course tariffs, right? Because, you know, I watch a lot of these YouTube videos where they're interviewing small business owners in all of these different states across the US. And the majority of those videos you hear, we're not hiring new people, we're having to let some people go because of you know, we're not getting enough orders, right? We're not getting the materials that we need to be successful. And you know, profits are massively ate into by tariffs. And so that is something that worries me long term. And of course, that's what the stock market is all about, right? People investing in companies. Those companies often are sharing financial data of, you know, how much money that they are making, and those reports on the financial data is what, you know, makes people either bullish or bearish on those individual stocks. And so you have to think of like Walmart and Target and all of these big retailers that are actively telling, you know, the public like, hey, we're going to have to raise prices on a lot of this stuff because we can't eat a 10%, a 20%, a 30%, 100% tariff on a lot of these goods. So how is that going to all unfold? I don't know, but that's what keeps me up. So I just watch out for those points. Might be better to get it after, but it's so hard to call. So hard to call. Ondo, I think Ondo, you know, anytime you can like start tokenizing funds and things like that, and really start, you know, that is where a lot of the world's value is, in treasuries, right? T-bills. And if we already understand that the goal of the Trump administration, is to get crypto regulation passed, stablecoin regulation passed. They need a new buyer of U.S. debt, right? Right now, the bond market is kind of going up. That is because bonds are being dumped on the market, by Japan, by China, and they need a new buyer. And that's what stablecoin companies, do, is they back up their stablecoins with treasuries usually. So, they basically said that's the plan, and, we'll have to see. But obviously, if you can tokenize funds in your ecosystem long term, you are probably looking at some serious capital coming into that ecosystem. Let's see here. Fabian says, hey, Sensei, started following you 3 weeks ago. Strong now. Love that. New to the channel. Question. What are your top 4 cryptos in your portfolio? Man, it's so hard to name 4. 4 tokens that I think you should absolutely have in your portfolio. XRP, HBAR, Cardano. It's like a tie between hold on, XRP, Chainlink, ADA. Wait, XRP, HBAR, ADA, Chainlink. Those are probably 4 long term. Those are 4 tokens that I think are very undervalued for what they do. I know Chainlink just had kind of, I think, an issue with an oracle that caused a few $100,000 worth of losses or something. I saw a clip. Let me see if I can find that. I do think Chainlink is very important though. Let me see. Chainlink. Let me see if I can find that. Hold on. Chainlink. Here, this is what I was talking about. Chainlink Oracle causes 500K in losses. Okay, Chainlink Oracle. Chainlink Oracle causes 500K in losses. Let me just take a look at this real quick to see what this was. All right, let me just make sure I'm sharing the right thing. Chainlink price feed alleged malfunction led to 500,000 in liquidations on May 29, sparking a fresh debate over the reliability of oracles in DeFi. So if you're not familiar with what oracles do, is they share information across a host of different layer ones or blockchains. So if somebody's selling XRP on Binance, the same price dip would happen across the XRP ledger and then wherever other channels or chains XRP is on. So I don't know, we'll have to see how this all plays out, but I still think Chainlink is a vital piece of it all. Obviously there's a ton of stuff. Yeah, LivePeer. We've talked about LivePeer a long time ago. It's so hard to just name 4. But there's a lot of really incredible assets. Don't get me wrong. You should tokenize your seal picture. It's not. I think my wife had it made or something like that. I don't know if it's actually mine to tokenize. I think she got it from somebody on Etsy or something. So, did you see the new addition that we added here? The seal is not alone now. The seal has a friend. All right, let's keep looking. Thoughts on Satoshi's identity? Well, shit, if you ask Scottie Pippen, he says he met the man or whoever it is in the 1990s or something. I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of people that believe Bitcoin was created by a 3-letter agency, and there's a lot of people that believe Bitcoin was created by somebody like David Schwartz or, one of those types of people. We don't really know what the real rub is. The issue would be here is if the US government did have a hand in creating Bitcoin, if that was found out, would people then trust Bitcoin, right? Because the whole thing about Bitcoin is that, the person that created it, its identity is unknown, and it's not a government. This is fighting against the government and the printing of of money. be some shit if like some treasury officials were the ones who created Bitcoin. I just think it would be pretty fun. Cass does a fantastic job. I'll let him know. I know some people aren't super thrilled on some of the like the titles and things like that. I just, Cass lives in Amsterdam. And so like usually what happens is like I'll make content today and that content today will go out like first thing tomorrow morning, like when I'm sleeping. So in Hawaii, I'm 6 hours behind Eastern Standard Time. And so like right now it's 1:24 in the afternoon. In the East Coast, it's like 7:24. And so like we'll try to put content out at like 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, because that's when a lot of people are awake and active. So I did see somebody Kobos. Let me see. Kobos donated some money. Let me see where is that? Oh, it's right here. Let me find it here. Kobos. Appreciate all the hard work you do for us, my friend. Thank you so much. Hey, I really appreciate it. If you guys don't know, any donations on the channel go to my dog Luna. We go to this health food dog pet store, and they have all of these very much more healthier like whole beef jerky and things like that from like legitimate 100% grass-fed cows and stuff like that. So thank you, Luna. Thanks you. I appreciate you. Thoughts on XCN? We're not touching XCN, dude. We're not touching XCN. Sorry. We've had conversations on XCN, and like there has been scam after scam after scam using that exact ticker, and I don't want to touch it. If you're talking about JP Morgan's blockchain, they changed the name from Onyx to Kinexes or something, and I don't know if they changed the ticker, but they might have. You just want to look at that. Also, Ripple has 1,700 NDAs. So I did a video on this. It's not NDAs. It's not all NDAs. Hold on. You just wanted me to get into something here. Let me see if I have it. So when I record content, like the most recent content, I like to save what like all the build of the videos, because I'm trying, when people ask me a question like this, let me close this. I want to have that ready. So let me see if I can find this. Hold on 1 second. Just bear with me. I think I do have. Yes, I do. I have it. Okay, here we go. I knew this would come in handy. This is why I save stuff. All right. So you want to talk about this. All right. Here we go. I got you. Share screen. All right. Do I not have exactly what you want? Yes. All right. So the question is about this. Okay, so everybody's seen this tweet. If you've been in the XRP space for quite some time, you've seen this, right? We are witnessing 1,700 NDAs. Okay, so it doesn't say NDAs. It says contracts, okay? And if you actually plug this into AI, which I have done, here is the image, and it says, can you break down these 1,700 NDAs? Do you have any information on them, right? Because everyone says they're NDAs. And so here we go. It says Ripple produced over 1,700 contracts related to XRP transfers. But these are not all non-disclosure agreements. Instead, they are a diverse set of commercial agreements by which Ripple distributed XRP to various counterparties in different types of transactions. Here is a detailed breakdown based, expert analysis on the court documents. So the cool thing about AI, guys, is you can have it scan a ton of data very quickly for you and give you a very good understanding of what's in that actual data. And so here it is. So here's the category 1,700 contracts. And what is in these contracts is a bunch of different stuff. It says, according to a Yale law professor, Alan Schwartz, provided expert testimony in the Ripple SEC litigation, these contracts fall into four main categories. Those four main categories are direct sales contracts. Ripple sold XRP directly to counterparties who took ownership of the XRP in exchange for fiat currency, typically US dollars. So this is Ripple needed money to build the network, to give grants, to invest in companies like Trangolo and to buy acquire new companies. And so Ripple used this money when they sold XRP directly and took these US dollars to and further build the ecosystems. And then these include direct sales contracts. They also include wholesale sales contracts. Ripple sold XRP to a counterparty who intended to resell it to a third party with explicit statements that purchases was not made for investment. So this could be like exchanges. This could be like Coinbase, right? Coinbase is a brokerage. You go on to Coinbase, you're not trading usually against somebody else. You are just buying it directly from the brokerage and they take a fee. This could be something like that. There's also programmatic contracts. We heard a lot about this, programmatic contracts, in the final days of the lawsuit. Counterparties agreed to sell XRP on Ripple's behalf to digital asset exchanges and remit proceeds to Ripple minus a fee. So there was maybe exchanges or other companies that agreed to sell XRP for Ripple, and Ripple took a fee to allow those companies to do that. These contracts facilitated market liquidity and distribution of XRP through trading platforms. 3, service contracts. Ripple compensated counterparties for service rendered using XRP rather than fiat. Subcategories include market-making contracts, payment for market-making services, prices of XRP fiat pairs. So this is XRP trading pairs like USDT, USDC, whatever else it is against a stablecoin. Product incentive contracts, XRP granted as incentives for using Ripple products such as on-demand liquidity. So if a bank used on-demand liquidity, Ripple might say, hey, we're going to give you a little bit of XRP to sweeten the deal. And then, of course, people that work for Ripple, employee and executive compensation, they're getting XRP. I would love to be paid in XRP. That would be so cool. Other contracts, they have different agreements that do not fit the above categories, include custody arrangements, Ripple Works contracts, settlement agreements, Xspring contracts, joint venture contracts, and miscellaneous. So, when someone says there's 1,700 NDAs, I just don't think that is quite exactly what they are. In conclusion, Ripple's 1,700 contracts represent a broad array of commercial agreements. I'd imagine that some of them are NDAs, but they're not 1,700 NDAs. I hope that helped you better understand what's happening there. All right. Chainlink, very important, but tokenomics, not for pumping bags, but last borrow and they outperformed Bitcoin by 30%. Yeah, I mean, we're talking long-term here too, right? Obviously there probably is a few projects that are a lot more riskier that could give you a lot bigger rewards. But if we're talking about 4 tokens that I think will still be here in 5 to 10 years, those are the 4 that I mentioned. Yeah, Kathy, a lot of the ecosystem's dipping right now. We went over that in the very beginning. Over at the top 100, a lot of it is below water right now. And that could be there was a lot of FOMO leading up to the Bitcoin conference. That usually happens, right? A lot of people think there's going to be some crazy announcements. And so Bitcoin pumps leading up to it and everything pumps with it. After the conference, maybe there wasn't a big announcement of something and then people are dumping and then people start panic selling everything. That's usually what happens here. Ron says, stablecoins like Tether are getting a boost from paid ads on Tucker Carlson's story about Bongiorno and Epstein's self-unveiling. I saw that not 10 minutes ago, and I thought it was sketchy. Well, Star Wars guy. Yeah, somebody got it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Why are we sinking? It is Pippin smoking rocks. Yeah, you saw the clip, right? Where what's his name? Michael Saylor was looking at him hella strange, right? Oh God, you have to see this clip. You guys don't know what we're talking about here. Let me pull it up for you. Let me see if I can find it. Scottie Pippen knows Satoshi. Yeah. Here you go. This is the clip.
Satoshi. You mentioned you met Satoshi.
Okay. So here's if you've never seen this clip, I don't know who this guy is. He's asking, I think, the question. Michael Saylor is right here, obviously in the middle, and then what you can't see right here is Scottie Pippen, who was on the dream team with the Bulls back in the 90s, right? So the question, let me start this over here.
You mentioned you met Satoshi in Seattle in 1993. You also He also came to you in a dream. You have a nice relationship with Satoshi.
I feel like I do.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a story to tell. Definitely have an opportunity to meet him back in 1993.
You mentioned.
I don't know, man. I wonder if Michael Saylor actually knows who Satoshi is, because he was like, "You're not supposed to say, right?" He's, I don't know. What was that face that he showed? Bitcoin would crash. Bitcoin's always gonna crash a bit, man. You know, but in the long run, I mean, you have so much upward momentum on Bitcoin. You know, I think at this point, I mean, the only thing that's going to stop Bitcoin going to like $1 million or $5 million is if it comes out who actually Satoshi is. Well, excuse me. There are multiple ways Bitcoin might not be successful. One of them could be like a 51% attack, where that one entity controls over 50% of the mining, 51% of the mining. Then they can basically go in and stop transactions and do a bunch of stuff. There could be some type of like, I don't know, AI thing in the future. That's kind of obviously, the true identity of Satoshi Nakamoto that could, get people to not want to buy Bitcoin anymore, depending who that person or agency is. I don't see like the technology is kind of up and running now, and you have a lot of people building on it. It's just a store of value though. Like you've heard through, like if you've been in the crypto space for like 5 years or whatever, you have heard Bitcoin, maximalist people that just push Bitcoin. They have, they went from Bitcoin is the technology of the future to now Bitcoin's being a store of value. Like that is what you hear. If you're listening to any time that these people are talking about Bitcoin, it's all like store of value, store of value, store of value. So I just think things take shape over time, and we'll have to see how that does. Jordan coming out of retirement to be an NBA. That was Scottie Pippen, but yeah, is Jordan? Is he really coming out of? Is he really? That'd be kind of cool. I like Jordan. I really like Jordan. I wonder if he would be. I wonder if he would be even bigger if he was around in today, right? Because you have social media and all this other stuff that really can take somebody, that good and make them like just a king. Any update on Jamsey coin? I'm not the right person to ask about that. I don't have any. I just don't know anything about it. Sorry. Let's see here. How do you feel about R3 going with XLM? Did they say that? I didn't see that. Let's see if we can find that. Let's go to Perplexity here. Anytime somebody says something now that I just want to fact check in real time, it's just so simple. Technology. Thank you. All right. Shit, I forgot what we're talking about now. See, I lost R3 going with XLM. Okay. Was there any announcements with R3 and XLM? Let's see here. Let's fix this so I can spell correctly. All right, let's see here. There's been no major direct partnership announcements between R3 and XLM in 2024, 2025. I think maybe what you're talking about is XDC. Richard, are you talking about XDC? And maybe you just got it confused? Or is there something that like I'm not seeing? I'll look for your comment down below. New drinking game. Anytime someone says Zbic or ZCN, people would be drunk. Like people would just be like falling over in the comments, and we wouldn't even get sentences anymore. It would just be like button pushing. So maybe not drinking game. There was also somebody said a drinking game. Every time I touched my nose, you would take a shot too. So like this could get out of control pretty quickly. How much, this is a good question. How much XRP would you need to be a millionaire in 5 years? So 5 years is 2030. Okay. And there's reports that there could be anywhere from 16 trillion to $30 trillion in the blockchain space by 2030. All right. And if we're talking about 16 to 30 trillion, what we're really talking about here is mostly a lot of tokenized value coming on chain, and whether that's stocks and bonds and derivatives and, you know, the derivatives, futures contracts, same thing. We could be talking about stablecoin value coming on chain too, maybe $1 trillion or 2 trillion in the next 5 years. So when I see something like this, I start to imagine where the XRP ledger is going to be in 5 years from now, and how much adoption the XRP ledger might get in that 5 years. Okay. And, you know, it does help that the US is very close to stablecoin regulation and regulation in general, since we are the largest financial hub on the planet, right? There's UK has a big financial hub, the UAE and other places like that, Switzerland. There's a lot of really big financial hubs in the world. But when you're talking about stocks and bonds and that stuff, like DTCC level stuff, you know, I do think Ripple could see a large share of that, you know, 16 to 30 trillion. Like if they get $2 trillion or $3 trillion out of that 30, let's say 10%, you know, what would that actually do to XRP's price? So there was an interesting thing that I shared recently about market cap multipliers. You know, let me actually just show you this really quickly instead of just talking randomness to you too. So here, if we pull this up and we say that using a 50, let's go 25x, 50x, 100x multiplier, market cap multiplier, using a multiplier. I can't spell. Multiplier. There we go. Using a 25, 50x, 100x multiplier, market cap multiplier, if 1 billion, 2 billion, and 3 billion. Well, here, let's use 5 billion. Let's just use 5 billion, since we can understand 1, 2, and 3. We can just times it. 5 billion, 5 trillion. My brain's not working correctly. If 1 trillion, 2 trillion, and $5 trillion is added to the XRPL in value, what would that bring the price of XRP to with these multipliers? All right. If you have no idea what a market cap multiplier is, you probably want to spend a little bit of time understanding that. The basis of this is there's not a huge amount of liquidity in these tokens. And when we start to see like 40 million or $50 million in inflows affecting the market cap into the billions, you start to understand that, you know, $1 trillion of real value, it could bring the actual market cap of the XRP ledger to, you know, 25 or 50 trillion with $1 trillion of real value. Okay. And so, it didn't give me what I wanted. I didn't ask it the right way, I guess. Wait, 1 trillion. It didn't, hold on. Sorry. I let me do this. If 1 trillion, 2 trillion, and let me see let's just do $1 trillion added to the XRPL using a 25x multiplier, what would this bring the price of XRP to? Sorry, there's a certain way you have to search this for it to give you what you wanted to, and I just think I had it back to front there. I do apologize. Let me see if I can pull this up for you. It's got to get all the data, and then it pulls it back in. Okay. So here you go. So $1 trillion with a 25x, a 50x, and a 100x multiplier. This would be the XRP price, $450, $850, and then $1,700.50. So it really depends like how much of a multiplier we're talking about here and how much real value comes on, right? But if I wanted to become a millionaire, how much XRP would I need to own in each category up top here? Okay. So This is basically saying that you would need 2300 XRP, 1700 XRP, and then 588 XRP. So it really does kind of depend on what this multiplier is and how much value really does come on. But that's showing you $1 trillion in value with those multipliers. You would need that much XRP to become a millionaire, to have $1 million. I hope that helps you understand that a little bit better. I've also done multiple videos on market cap multipliers. If you need a refresh, reach out to me on like Twitter or something like that. Just make sure you're sending me a message. Let me just show you here. If you are on Twitter, you just want to make sure that, Crypto Sensei, this is a 0. This is 2 eyes because they didn't really have the other one. And I have 58,700 followers. So if you send me a DM and ask me a question, I will do my best to respond to you. Okay. Jonathan, doesn't seem like this is going to happen. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Unfortunately. Thoughts on the Dubai real estate tokenization program? I think it's a start. I mean, if you read the finer details in that report, is 16 billion over the course of the next 8 years. And it's supposed to be about 7% of the real estate value, give or take, in Dubai. I don't know. I think what a lot of this is trying to do is to show other countries in other cities or whatever that tokenizing real estate can happen on blockchain. This is the future. I think Ripple's goal right now is to show as many different use cases as they possibly can. Will this bring more countries, right, or more areas, in the Middle East forward to tokenize their real estate? It's a $300 trillion market globally. So what is that going to do in America, or what is that going to do in Canada or in Mexico or South America or, wherever? I think this can happen in other places of the world. So this could just be like the start of something, but 16 billion over 8 years, you're not really going to feel the effects of that at all. I mean, it's 8 years, right? 16 billion, which is, I think, like 1/10 of what our market cap is right now. You're not going to see it too much. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. Real estate exposure, it is huge. HBAR has only been getting the real estate buzz. Yeah, I mean, if HBAR is not in your long-term crypto portfolio, I think you might just be looking at tokenization the wrong way. I think HBAR is going to play a huge part in tokenization over the next few years. And, hope it all works out. Hey, Curtis, good to see you, man. Welcome back here. Yeah, I lost $23,000 to who I thought was Coinbase, but was not. Yeah, this is, we started talking about this at the beginning of the chat, that, I love that, Trump and God, I can't remember the vice president's name. What's that guy's name? Hold on. Vance, JD Vance. I like how they are pro innovation, pro crypto. I don't love that, listen, if you've committed fraud in the crypto space, it seems that, you can actually pay to get out of that. I think Justin Sun paid $100 million, and his case was then dropped. Right. So I think there's a little bit of, if you have enough money, you can kind of get out of some of this stuff. I think there needs to kind of be more done as far as going after scammers in the crypto space. I think we're kind of dropping the ball on that. I think there really needs to be like a G20 type of level of countries getting together, I think they need to fund an agency that can work across borders to identify where some of these scams are originating and literally go after these scammers. I really wish they would get a task force together and just go after these people. And until something like that happens, until you have boots on the ground like, what do? You can't go into Russia and get, hackers out of Russia. You can't go into North Korea, right? Like there's certain places you just can't get into. And so like, how do you protect the rest of the world against these people? It's a very detailed question that I think deserves a lot of thought, and you're going to need to bring a lot of these countries together to fight against this. And I just don't see that happening at all right now. And I think that's a mistake. And unfortunately, you've been scammed. I've been scammed. And almost any person that's been in crypto for a few years has been scammed of something. I had I have somebody that I did spaces with a few months ago. Somebody that I consider extremely bright and extremely intelligent in the crypto space. He accidentally connected his wallet to a contract that drained his wallet of $1.5 million. It was his entire life savings. And he's in crypto full time, and that happened to him. So if it can happen to him, it can happen to any of us. And it's just not a good feeling. It's just not a good feeling. And I'm sorry you went through that. It's fake, Derek. What about tokenized oil with white? It's not true. It's not true. No, fake. Yeah. Anyways, let me go all the way down here because there's a lot of you guys asking questions. How is Hawaii feeling about Lilo and Stitch remake? Oh God. So you want to hear a story about this? Oh my God. So listen, this was last weekend. Okay. And I talked my wife into going to see a movie. And I wanted to go see the new Mission Impossible movie in IMAX. Okay. That's like what I wanted to go see. But also, I was like, what the hell is this other movie that it's on like 15 million screens? It's like 4 or 5 different cinemas. The same movie theater has it on like 5 different screens, right? It's like all of these different movie times is Lilo and Stitch. And so I was showing my wife, Lilo and Stitch and how many theaters it's on. And so my wife thought we were going to see Lilo and Stitch. Like I bought the tickets. We got to the movie theater. We went into the movie theater. She sat down, and like Lilo and Stitch didn't come on. and she's like, I thought we were going to see Lilo and Stitch. And I was like, we weren't going to see Lilo and Stitch. We were going to see Mission Impossible. And it was just a really funny moment. So now I need to take my wife to go see Lilo and Stitch. So but she was a good sport. We sat through the whole thing. It was freaking awesome, man. I was on the edge of my seat. I literally, it was super funny. It was me and my wife. I was sitting here, my wife's sitting next to me, but next to my wife was this other gentleman with his wife or something. And this guy was like me, like he was like, I was on the edge of my seat. I was like going back and forth. I was like, I get really into stuff. If you haven't like been around me in real life, I can get really into stuff. And like both of us were like freaking out, and my wife was laughing because me and this random person were like doing this very similar, it was just a good time. It was a good time. It was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen the new Mission Impossible movie, go see it. It's worth it. IMAX it. See it on a big theater with all the sound. Man, it is probably the best Mission Impossible movie that I've seen, that they've made. It was so good, man. It was so good. Let's see here. Is Satoshi anonymous? How does he pay taxes? Well, no Bitcoin has been sold from that wallet. So, you're just sitting on, $1 billion worth of 100 billion now? I don't even know. It's 1 million Bitcoin. Let me see. How much is 1 million Bitcoin worth today? Let's see what the number is. There you go. So hold on. Dollars, thousand, million, billion. So $109 billion. So if Satoshi's wallet would go to start selling this Bitcoin, that would become a taxable event. Okay. Speaking of scams, is cloud mining like hash shiny? I don't know what hash shiny is. So listen, I have seen thousands, probably like tens of thousands of crypto projects fail at this point. Like it, if you've been in the crypto space for a few years, you have seen things come and go. And usually the stuff that promises like really high rewards, those are the things that don't have a very long shelf life, right? I think as investors into this crypto thing, like people are trying to figure out like, is this real? Is this good? I always say start out with a very small amount of money. Before, when you're testing anything, always start out with very, very small, like $10, $40, $50. Don't go in with 50 grand or 20 grand or 10,000. Like you really need to see like, what is this platform that I'm trading on? And a lot of it is fortunately, like either, it's either a scam to start with, or the team has good intentions, but the technology fails, or their security fails. Like all of these things are a risk when you're investing in the crypto space. And that's why a lot of people stick with like the top 50 or top 100 tokens, because there is less risk in a very inherently risky space. All right. Didn't like South Korea create this like liquid thing? I don't know. I was just seeing something about it. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, Terminator mode. Yeah, man. So this happens a lot. So if you haven't seen what my screen name is, let me show you what my screen name is really quickly. One second. Let me just pull this up here. Okay. So if you are in Discord, okay, let me just show you what this looks like. Okay. So here, my screen name on Discord is this: Crypto Sensei won't DM you. And it's actually Crypto Sensei. Okay. I will never DM you first. That is, when you become a member of my community, whether you're a paid member or you are just coming in to kind of see what the community is about, you have to agree to the rules of the community. And in there, it specifically says like, it's a warning about scammers. So scammers are a problem. We ban them all the time and they just keep coming back, unfortunately. And like, I don't know. I wish I could like hire a white hacker to kind of go after these type of people. I just don't know who that is. I need to figure that out. All right. Do you think XRP will hit $2 again, in your opinion? I mean, aren't we like almost right there right now? Here, let me see. $2.14. I mean, you're 15 cents off. It's close. It's very close. Very close. ACH Alchemy Pay, keep or reinvest in Fab 4. Alchemy Pay, ACH. Let's see. I've heard the name. I just my mind's a little blank though. ACH. I mean, if there's value here for you, I'm not familiar with the news and what's happening in this ecosystem. I would say that, even in like when the market was doing really good in March, this thing only topped out at 4.5 cents, which is half of what you're looking at right now. Are you happy with this? This hit. So even in the 2021 cycle, this thing only hit 11 cents, which is basically a 5x from where you are right now. I don't know. Like, I don't know what has happening with Alchemy Pay, but you just might want to look at that data and what are you trying to achieve with whatever money that you put into Alchemy? You just you gotta have to ask yourself that question. And it's like, the hard thing about crypto is like when somebody asks me, like, what are you buying? Like, give me your top 20 tokens. When I start like reading off top 20 tokens, I start to get to a point where I'm like, you know, this is token 16 or 17, 18, 19. But like, if I got, you know, $10,000 today that I could put into the market, would I go and put it into coin 17 or 18 or 19? Or would I put it into like my top first choice or my second choice or my third choice, you know? So you have to play this out. Talk with your financial advisor. You know, what is your strategy in this bull market? How much are you trying to make? You know, where does the current thing that you're invested in need to get to where you need to be? You know, put some thought into it. Hope you do. Should I buy a fire extinguisher because the market is red hot? I mean, you know, we go through this. We go through this every single like month, or you know, every 6 weeks or every whatever. You are going to have pullbacks. It is a healthy part of the market. And Lizard King, you know that, man. You've been here a long time. You know that pullbacks happen, and those are opportunities for people that think the market is going to continuously go up. Like if you are mid bull market, Bitcoin hasn't topped out, you know, is there still good market ahead of us? If there is, maybe this is an opportunity to double down on something, right? That's how I look at it. Yeah, see, IPVCK, IPivic knows what's up. The weekend usually gets worse. And you guys got to remember too, we're also going into summer, you know, like, I think XRP is probably, you know, a lot of people that are like heavy into XRP right now are at XRP Las Vegas, or they're at like an after party of XRP Las Vegas, right? And so you have content creators, you have retail investors, you have institutional investors. A lot of people are at this event, and they're not focused right now about buying XRP. Probably they're just focused on learning more about what's happening inside of the ecosystem. So, you know, think about how many pieces of paper that is. But it's not 1,700 NDAs. Well, we just talked about this. I just told you what it is. Did you miss that? They're not NDAs. Well, not all of them are NDAs. They're all kinds of different contracts. If you missed that, you want to rewind the video to when I go over that. I also go over that in a recent video too. Good evening, everyone. A quick question. What do you think about Norios protocol? Do they really have a solution for cryptocurrency security, or is it just another scam? Let's take a look. NAORIS. Norris protocol. Okay. Let's take a look here. Let's see what we find. Okay. This has got to be it, right? Trust and security for Web3 and Web2. Okay, hold on. Let's take this one step further here. Let's go to, well, first I want to take a look at the Twitter. Like that's the first thing I look at, right? 305,000 subscribers. They've been around since February 2022. Okay. But I always like to see what their, you know, like how is their engagement? Is it fake? Is it real? I mean, anytime you have like 8 and 15, looks to be mostly real. But then I'll also like want to scroll down to the very, very, oh, here, like this, I'm just looking through their Twitter. I'm just seeing how low, you know, because sometimes what happens is scam projects will take over somebody's Twitter account. And even though it'll say like 2,400 posts here, it'll only show like 50 posts or 60 posts. And so I like to just go as far deep as I can down to just make sure this project's been posting for a year or 2 years, nonstop, legitimate posts. You know, this also helps you better understand. You can also ask the AI if it has any information. So like, do you have any information if this project is legit or fake, or a scam or fake project? Let's see if we put that in there. Let's search it. Let's see what it comes up with. Based on the available evidence, Neurospheres appears to be a legitimate cybersecurity project with a real team working technology, public documentation, and positive user industry feedback. However, as with any emerging blockchain project, users should remain vigilant against scams and impersonating the protocol. So, I mean, it could be legitimate. If there was any kind of like a lot of scam data, it would pull it up and let us know that, hey, this was, flagged as a scam, or this was flagged as a scam. So that's something that you can use to help better your search. I mean, it looks okay from just a few minutes, but obviously you need to spend like hours, like go in their Discord, go in their Telegram, search the name of the project and scam together to see if it comes up with anything in Google. There's a lot of things you can do to make sure. If you feel like it could be untrustworthy, why take the risk? How come no one is streaming? I think some people are trying to, but like you got to imagine when you're in a casino, you don't always have the best internet because you have a lot of concrete above you, and so sometimes streaming from those places can be a little difficult. Unless you're hooked up to like the casino's, connection. And then you got to worry about, is it the casino's connection or is it a scammer's connection? I'd imagine when you get like conferences with crypto, there could be a lot of scam stuff happening. What's a good financial advisor? Someone that gives you good advice, man. I don't know. Usually like when I'm talking with different financial advisors, most of them don't have any clue about crypto. And so like it's you asking somebody for their expert opinion when they have no expert opinion, right? And so I'd imagine there are some pretty good ones if you look. Here, let's see if we can use AI to help you here. I am looking for a top 5 or 10 financial advisors when it comes to cryptocurrency. What do you have for me? Also, too, like I've been watching a lot of while this figures it out, I'll pull it up in a second, but I've been watching a lot of information on AI. Just want to put this out there. Okay. If you are in a white collar job where you think AI could impact your job specifically, you might want to start spending an hour or two learning how to use AI to do different things. That way, if your work or your business or where you have a job starts to replace you for, people that understand AI a little bit better and how to use these tools and technologies, you definitely should be learning how to use AI every single day. Like I just use it for searches and stuff like that. I mean, can AI replace me? Probably. I probably would be a little bit harder to replace than like somebody in like a factory job or something like that, or, whatever. Let's keep going. Top financial advisors for cryptocurrency in 2025. Here we go. Multi-coin Capital, DCG Group, Pantera Capital, Polychain Capital, Amber Group, Grayscale, Bitwise. Well, these might be a little bit like you have to have a certain amount of crypto to talk with these people, but definitely you can use, AI to try to help your search. Hopefully that helps you, man. Jose with the $20. Thank you again. Stay healthy, my friend, and spoil Luna. Jose, thank you so much, man. This is a big help. This $20, man, Luna can get a lot of treats for $20, and so she will be high-fiving. She will be high-fiving you this weekend. So thank you so much. Feed the pets. Got to feed the pets, man. Whether you have a dog, a cat, a fish, that love thy animal. How do we only get 169 likes? A lot of people watch from Twitter. So like right now I can see that we have 1,315 people on Twitter, but only 230 on YouTube. So usually what happens if I'm streaming both on Twitter and YouTube does not recommend my stream to people because I'm streaming on Twitter as well. So I'll probably test it out just to see like if I only stream on YouTube, what will happen? But I haven't been brave enough to do that yet. Why aren't I in Las Vegas? So I had a hip surgery early April last month, at the start of last month, and I asked my doctor, would I be able to attend this thing? And since it does involve a lot of walking and movement, he said that I could, injure my hip, as it's recovering. So it was, I made the decision to not risk it and not chance it and hopefully heal. I'm still doing physical therapy and stuff like that. And so I didn't want to take the risk. It sucks, but I had to have the surgery. So QNT long run, I mean, QNT has a lower supply and more utility than Bitcoin does. So I can't imagine, QNT not being like $5,000 or $10,000 eventually here. How long? It's always a tough question. QNT really relies on technology that needs to be adopted, and you have to have financial institutions willing to pay for that technology. And with regulation and all of stuff slow rolling in a lot of places, it's going to take some time. Thoughts on Germasia 589 BG123? I don't get too much into the weeds on that stuff. I know there's some channels that talk a lot about that. I'm just not one of those channels. I try to take a very like fact-based approach to all this stuff. And don't get me wrong, I love the whole like I don't even know what the right word is to describe it, but there's this whole kind of different community side of XRP that really gets involved with solving puzzles and all that stuff. I'm just not really good at that, so I'll let the experts do all that stuff. But Jonathan, what do you think, man? You probably research it better than I do. Tell me what you think. Why are you live? I don't know. We're usually live on Fridays and Tuesdays during this time. So is it unusual that I'm live on this time? I don't think so. ZBig baby. ZBig's been making some decent returns for people. I'm really happy to see that, man. Anytime I can see people making some easy money in crypto, it makes me feel really good, man. Love that. Merci beaucoup. Oh, is that French? Hey, I love it. Thank you. Let's see here. What about Nadix token? Nadix. Is that the one we just researched? No, that's Norris. Natix token. You guys really do like to find the very, very interesting names for tokens. Natix network. Is this what we're talking about here? Oh, snap. Look at this. Making a big move. Here, let's go 7 days. Okay. We're up 72% in 7 days. Interesting. Let's see what this is about here. Wait, am I even on the right project though? Is this the right? Oh shoot, I'm not showing you. Is this it? Val, is this what you're talking about? Let me just make sure that I have the right thing, Val. Is this Nadix, Val? Let's see here. Crypto events. Crypto Sensei, what is your opinion? Why XRP is down? Is it because of the news? I'm staying positive here. So in any market, it doesn't matter if it's cryptocurrency, stocks, gold, very rarely do things just go straight up, right? Very often you have good weeks and you have bad weeks. This could be one of those bad weeks. I think, like we talked about this earlier, I think that when you go into like a Bitcoin 2025 conference, okay, and you have a lot of hype right before that event, and if some news and information that people were expecting to happen didn't come out of that event, that's when you started seeing people starting to sell Bitcoin, right? And it usually, when Bitcoin is not doing well, the rest of the market follows because Bitcoin dominance is still pretty high. So, we get these dips, we get this resistance, and there's only a few options for you. One is you can sell, you can get out. You don't like the dip, you can get out. Maybe crypto's, a new area that you're just getting into, and you're not, used to these 15 or 20% dips in a day, right? I mean, we're all for it when we get, 15 or 20% in a day, but with that comes the other side of it, right? There's always two heads to that coin. So you can either get out or you can double down, right? You can buy in as the token is dipping, which is called DCAing, right? Dollar cost averaging. Or you can do absolutely nothing and just hold your position. Those are really like your three options, right? Do nothing, buy more on the dip, or just get out. So, whenever like I talk about these options with people, obviously if you can talk with like a financial advisor or somebody that's really, unique in understanding these markets and what's going on, that would probably be your best bet to go to. But if you're relying on a guy sitting next to a seal, you're going to get, just this kind of plain three thing advice. I think the market still has a long way to go. I don't think it's all done. I think we're getting some, new. So anytime we get bad information about tariffs, you'll notice that the market does affect. It does start to go down in the other way. I don't know if that's what's happening right here, right now, today. But, there was the Bitcoin conference that ended. And then as it ended, you saw Bitcoin starting to dip down. And then over the last 24, 48 hours, you're seeing that maybe the Chinese, the tariffs on China might go back to their original 145%, which could be bad for businesses and investors in America. So I'm not saying like that's what's happening, but I think you can see a very big correlation with, tariff news and markets dipping. So I know that's a very worded answer, but just kind of have to dig in, man. Man, you got ZBIC at 0.0078. Curtis, you are on fire, man. You did. I think, Curtis, you were the one in here like talking about ZBIC early days, right? So my hat's off to you, man. There's a lot of really smart people in the chat, guys. A lot of really smart people in the chat. I mean, live peer, you probably should have jumped in when we were talking about this like a year ago or something, or 6 months ago or something like that. But, if you're just finding it now, it's probably still a good one. That's millionaire after taxes. Yeah. So like, that was another thing too. I think a lot of people were expecting, I don't think that's what's affecting the market right now, but I think some people were expecting in this big, beautiful bill that there would be some of these reliefs for capital gains in America. That never got put into that bill. Not saying that it won't get put into a future bill. But there's some people that were hoping, to pay less taxes on their crypto, and it doesn't look like that is going to happen just yet. Might not happen at all. But that's also something that also I can see people talking about. $2 from Vadim. My husky Luna insisted on getting your Luna treat, man. Vadim, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Luna's sleeping right now, but I will go wake her up in just a second as we get closer to signing off here. I've still got a little bit more time that I'll spend with you guys here on this Friday, answering as many questions as I can. Crypto Revenge, did you sign up for the channel? No. Man, were you always a member? Thank you for being a member. Honestly, I'll probably just buy more. Thank you for your advice. Appreciate it. Hey, anytime I can help, I've seen a lot of things. I've learned a ton of things not to do in crypto, right? I've learned a lot of like things the hard way, which if you ask my dad, my mom, they'll tell you I've been like that my whole life. I always like to learn things the hard way. And, I just know when you're in a bull market, you're going to get these dips. Usually they happen in the summertime, which we are just now getting into June. Families are off. People are traveling. Crypto is not like, there's a lot of you that crypto, you are hardcore about it, man. You want to learn as many things as you can about it. You eat, sleep, and breathe crypto. You're a lot like me, right? And then there's some people that just want to buy some Bitcoin and XRP because their friends told them that they should hold these assets, and then they go off and they do other stuff. So you get these really cool mix of people, and a lot of people take the summers and travel and spend some of that money that they're making. So XRP gonna plummet. Joe says XRP is going down. Damn, Joe. Tell us how you really feel. Come on, Joe. What's a good financial advisor? Somebody that gives you advice that makes you money. Pretty much. you know, somebody that gives you really good advice. You're right on the tariff talk, has done it every single time. Yeah. And you know, I don't really like, you know, the more I talk about tariffs, the more some people get annoyed with that. So I'm trying not to touch on it too much. You know, I know that can be a very difficult subject for some people to navigate. Let me ask you this question. If we didn't have this tariff stuff happening week in and week out of these stop start tariffs, how would the markets be reacting then? Like, I was just trying to think about this, you know, just, you know, not taking all of my biases and, you know, the last 10 years of my life and my experiences, but let's just live in this moment. What if tariffs, like this whole thing, didn't exist? Where would, you know, the crypto market be or the stock market be? And I think we would have, I think the market, I think Bitcoin probably would have already gone past 150,000. And I think the stock market would have been setting all times of new records, because if you remember when Trump took office, the US economy was slowing down a bit, but GDP growth was still about plus 2.5%. So it was still, the economy was growing. Unemployment was about 4% or lower. You know, people were working. Obviously, you know, it wasn't all perfect, but now you've inserted a lot of uncertainty, right? Business owners don't know if they should, you know, expand, if they should invest in new infrastructure, if, you know, if they need to hire people or fire people. I think there's a lot of uncertainty with business owners right now. And, you know, if you work for a small mom and pop business, I think you would be worried about having a job too right now, because anything can happen. If you look at, like, one thing I like to look at here, let me show you this. One thing you can look at to judge how an economy is doing is look at the bankruptcies. Show me bankruptcies. I never spelled bankruptcies right. Show me bankruptcies in the US in 2023, 2024, and in 2025. How are we looking? Small businesses. Remember, 50% of workers work for small businesses in the United States. 50%. So it is a very big deal of what happens with small businesses. And so this is the type of data that I like to look at. Okay. And so here is business filings. So new businesses being created. Excuse me. Total filing. This is our bankruptcy. This is not new business. So here is the years 23 to 25, and then different filings. And as you can see, already in 2025, we've had more bankruptcies than in the previous 2 years already. And we're not even really like halfway through the year. This data covers 12 months ending March 2025. Bankruptcies, first quarter shows a continued rise with the bankruptcies up 13%. So this is 13%, additional from what we saw in 23 and 24. And so more business owners are calling it quits because of all this surge. Early 2025 data shows 11% increase in commercial bankruptcy filings in January alone, with Chapter 11s up 16% compared to the same time period in 2024. So this is really showing businesses are failing, at a higher rate than they have failed in the past. And is that to do with tariffs? Is that to do with other stuff? That's an economist to go through, not me, but that's the type of stuff I look for. Okay. I hope that helps you better understand my thought process. Let me scroll down here. I know, like, Kate's here. What's up, Kate? There was just a red alert on Coinbase and XRP was down. I couldn't trade any price chart. Issues solved now? Why would this happen, Sensei? Not being able to trade on Coinbase. So I could think of several issues. One could be One could be simple as an issue with your connection, right? Like it's your phone, you're in maybe like a building or that happens, right? Where I'm not able to do something and then like I'll go back to it 10 minutes later in a different place and I'll be able to do it. Second thing is there could be an issue with Coinbase, right? Let's see if there's any alerts, any new alerts with Coinbase and not being able to trade XRP or other crypto assets. I didn't see anything about Coinbase, but I haven't been looking properly. So let's see if we can better understand if there's any kind of things stopping that. No new XRP trading suspension or delisting. Looks like Coinbase is expanding. So it could just be like one of those random things. Coinbase data breach 2025. Spot trading on Coinbase, spot trading, buying and selling. Oh, here you go. Wait, spot trading for XRP on Coinbase. Spot trading, buying and selling the actual XRP token on Coinbase remains unavailable as of late May 2025. Is that real? Can you not trade XRP on Coinbase right now? That doesn't seem right. Hold on a second. That can't be right. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see if I can buy some. Buy crypto XRP. Let's just buy like $100 to see if this is working. Order submitted. I was able to buy $100 worth. It might just be like your connection, Kate. Like it could just be a random thing. I don't think it's something more sinister. I mean, I was able to do it. If you keep having trouble, I mean, it says bought XRP pending. Let's see. Oh, it says completed. Here. Completed. Work for me. But sorry you're having that don't get safe mooned. Yeah, that man. Hello, Sensei. What are your thoughts on VET? Hey, Jay Castle. So I know a lot of people like VET, bullish on VET. I think, I own VeChain in the 2021 cycle, and I think there was a lot more momentum in the community for VeChain. Right now, I don't know if I'd be buying VeChain. Let me just take a look at something real quick here. It's all about like what the community is right now for this token, right? Man, this is down 16% in the last 7 days, 9% today. Let's just take a look at the last 30 days though. Last 30 days, we're down even 10% there. A year, we're down 30%. I mean, this is hard. Like this is the problem that a lot of people face in the crypto market right now, right? Is holding on to assets from previous cycles that, so let me tell you this. In crypto, even you have to understand, we are still all speculating. Like we haven't gotten to a point yet where we are actually investing into crypto assets that are being utilized on massive scales. Okay. I'm not saying like everything's not being used on a massive scale, but a lot of it is just pure speculation. And when you don't have as many people speculating on an asset at the same time, where like maybe the VeChain community of 2021, 2022 isn't quite the same VeChain community in 2025, you might get people less interested in investing in that asset, right? And I think that's what you see across the crypto space. And so often the best piece of advice that I've been shared in these moments is invest where people are excited, like invest where people are. Okay. Like find the crypto token that people are extremely bullish about. Like right now, probably wouldn't be putting money into VeChain. I'd probably be putting money into like ZBIC, right? Because ZBIC has seen this incredible run over the last few months here. Look at this. I mean, check this out. Like if you would have taken the same amount of money into VeChain And if you would have put it into ZBIC, you see this difference in thing 370% compared to VeChain in the last 30 days that has actually lost money, right? Has gone down 10%. So this is a prime example of investing where people are in this current moment. Okay. But now if you're holding VeChain for the entire bull market, like you're okay with this money not moving right now, but you feel that eventually that it will move and it will give you a nice return. I understand that. Like a lot of people invest in a lot of different things, and not all of those things are moving at all times. If you have a limited resource, right, and you have this limited resource in something that's not moving for months on end, you might want to find a different home currently for that money. And then when that asset finally starts moving, you go back into it, right? When the attention comes back onto VeChain, you go back into it. All right. I'm not a financial advisor. That is just over the last 5 years, something that I've learned, I've seen play out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. And it's right. You know, if you go to where people are excited, people are FOMOing, that is where the easiest money can be made. All right. I hope it works out for you, Jay Castle. I really do, man. Let's see here. Don Quixote says, for some reason, Robinhood needed a reboot, had access issues. Yeah, that's another thing too, guys. If you're having issues with an app on your phone or whatever, or your computer, remember to close it, reopen it, and then, you know, hopefully those issues will be resolved. Okay. Let's see here. Aloha Kame. What's up, my friend? Sensei, keep up the great work. A bunch of my associates in Japan are now following you, plus my Ohana here too. I love that. Reach out to me, Aloha Kame, on Twitter, man. Let's do that. I'll give you my phone number here. Let me go to my profile. Let me send this to you. Send me a message on Twitter, and I'll get in contact with you. I even told my wife that we're going to be going to a barbecue soon with some really nice local people and, you know, people that are supporting the channel. So very interested in having a sit down barbecue with you and your family. Let me know. So let me see here. What else we got? And thank you so much for the 10. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate you. Thank you for telling new people about the channel. Love you. Thank you. XRP is crashing. Deep breaths, everybody. Deep breaths. It's going to be okay. It really is going to be okay. All right. Gambled all my XRP on a casino and popped them for 1,200 XRP. That rarely happens. I'm glad it happened to you though. I used to, I think, gamble a lot more when I was younger, and I just can't bear losing money when I could be putting money into crypto. You know? Let's see here. I gave up on VET. I feel that, you know, I think there's a lot of assets that from 2021, you know, or even before that people are still piling into. You know, the expectation is this happened in 2021. It's going to be even bigger now, right? This time. And, you know, in some cases it will be like that, but in a lot of other cases, you won't see the same type of returns. It's just a different market. There's different hot buttons that people are interested in. VeChain's kind of more supply chain. At least when I was researching it, it was very focused on supply chains. And like the current state of the market is really, you know, AI, real world asset, tokenization, you know, utility use case. I think that's kind of what you're dealing with here. Of course, Jay Castle, I wish you the best, man. Listen, I hope VeChain pops off tomorrow for you. You know, I just looking at the data, it just might be a little bit more time. So maybe expect a little bit more pain, you know, but you've done the research, you know more about VeChain in this current moment than probably I do. You know, I'm just talking from experience in the past, what I've seen with some of the tokens. All right. Do you think ZBIC coin can do as well as XRP in the near future? So can it do 140 billion in market cap? Probably not. I've seen some people that I saw talking about ZBIC pretty early, talking about ZBIC going to like 10 cents. I mean, even a 10-cent ZBIC would be a multi-billion-dollar market cap. So can it happen? Absolutely. Will it go to 140 billion this market, this cycle? No, no. But they have been building for quite some time. And, you know, it sounded like when I listened to some of the clips from the CEO and the team talking, sounds like they've been working on the technology for quite some time. And they only rolled out the actual token once the technology was to where they felt that they could be successful. So, you know, it does look like ZBIC's probably going to see more gains over the next few months, I would imagine. Absolutely. Crow is up. Yeah, crypto.com, you know, it's an exchange. It's a little bit different. You know, how will XRP affect ZBIC? I mean, I know ZBIC is trying to work on like a use case with XRP, but outside of that, I didn't find too many connections. You know, it was said by somebody that like Ripple was an early investor into ZBIC, but we researched it and we couldn't find that. You know, here, something easy to show you guys here is like when you pull up AI, you can just say what connections do you have for XRP and ZBIC? Luna, get out of the bathroom. I see you. Come on, come lay down. Almost done. What connections do you have for XRP/Ripple and ZBIC? So let's wait for that to populate, and then I will show you what it says. All right, so here are the connections that I was able to find. So recent developments indicating a growing connection between Ripple, the company behind XRP, and ZBIC, a programmable payments and DeFi payroll platform. Here's the current status. So confirmed partnership and collaboration news. In May 2025, ZBIC officially announced partnerships with Ripple, Circle, and Chainlink. It's led to a significant surge in ZBIC price. Partnership with Ripple was confirmed via ZBIC's official channels and discussed during a ZBIC-hosted X Space, and that's what I was talking to you about. This collaboration aims to blend ZBIC's real-time payroll and streaming payment technology with Ripple's XRP ledger, leveraging Ripple's infrastructure, low-cost cross-border transactions. This is positioned as a major move to disrupt the $10 trillion US payroll market. So, you know, in short term, ZBIC is probably going higher, right? We might, I mean, it's pumped 300 and something % over the last few, you know, like last 30 days. Will there be an adjustment down a bit? There could be, but overall, I do think we're on a steady, incline here. We're going to be going higher. It talks about nature of the scope of the partnership. The partnership is still in early stages, with both sides reportedly in talks to co-develop a new product or integration. So they're just in talks to develop this new product. It hasn't actually been developed yet, but people are still speculating that this could be a big deal. And so people are buying the token now. And so ZBIC CEO and Ripple's leadership have both hinted at transformative potential of the collaboration. And so, you know, there's a little bit other news in here. I'm not going to go over all of it. I will post this link to the Perplexity link if you're wanting to go in and jump in. And just so you guys know, I don't get like paid to use Perplexity. I've tried using ChatGPT, and I just find Perplexity to be more helpful. It's pulling like live data. And I like using Perplexity over ChatGPT. I think it's just a personal feeling. How are we going to beat the transfer fees on exchange? You're never going to beat those. You just got to find an exchange with the lowest fees. And then, you know, hopefully they have the tokens you want to buy. Selling my XRP now. Best wishes, Lasse. Best wishes. You know, you gotta do what you feel is right. You know, I don't agree, but if that's what you feel is right to do, you know, I'm behind you, man. Hope it works out. Any thoughts on Mutum? Mutum. Is this real? Is this real? What's a Mutum? M-U-T-U-U-M? Is that right? M-U-T-U-U-M-M. Let's find out. What is Mutum, and is it a real crypto project? Let's take a look. Mutum financing. is a real emerging decentralized finance product built on the Ethereum blockchain. Its primary focus is crypto lending and borrowing, offering a hybrid approach to integrated peer-to-peer models. You know, I mean, at least we know it's not, not a fake project, but lending and borrowing, I feel like that's most of crypto right now. So I don't know if it's anything special. Hey, Sensei, did you see the Hidden Road address 589? Yeah, Davian, I did see that. I did see that. I did see that. Kind of strange how this stuff works out, man. I don't know. That's pretty crazy to me. I mean, there's no way that Brad Garlinghouse knew about this. He's had 589 followers for like years. It's hard for me to imagine that years ago that they knew that this, this 589 was, I mean, that could be, like if Brad Garlinghouse's he starts following new people and it goes up higher, that's what he was waiting for. And if it doesn't, maybe it has no correlation. It's just a very interesting, unique thing. I thought it was kind of cool though. I heard ZBIC to 15 cents. Yeah, I heard to 10 cents, but 15 cents could be. Yeah. I mean, what? Hold on. Let's just, man, I have a lot of these windows open. If ZBIC goes to 10 cents or 15 cents, what type of market cap are we talking about? I would say it's going to be like 7 to 10 billion, maybe. I know they have what? Oh, look at that. I said 7 to 10 billion. Look at the market cap. Look at that. Really close, right? Really close. So we're looking between 7.9 billion and 11.85 billion. Is that unheard of? No, I mean, it definitely could happen. Definitely could happen. I time will tell. It just depends how much more FOMO they can create, right? I mean, going from where we are right now to 15 cents, you're going to lead a lot more FOMO, but it seems like the XRP community is coming along for the ride, and you can get other communities involved too. That could be good. My man likes Crow. Nice. I mean, Crow is one of the largest exchanges in the US. So, investing into Crow early, you might be, you're investing into crypto infrastructure in the United States. I totally understand that. Like, I get why you're wanting to do that. I don't know, man. They were just doing were they buying millions of tokens back or something like that? I don't know. It's AI on Solana can be finicky, but I think long term, they have a lot of good stuff going on for them. So, it's just like one of those things where it's going to pump when those AI tokens start to pump. Price prediction on HBAR in the future. I mean, let's see where HBAR is at right now. Hold on. Oh my God, I have so many windows open up here. Holy shit. HBAR. I mean, HBAR is already what? Close to 10 billion? 7 billion. Okay, excuse me. I mean, now's the time, right? Look at this. High of 22 cents. We're at 16.57 cents and dropping. The issue here, though, is, HBAR's real utility price. I don't know if we're going to see that for years to come, though, right? Like most of these assets like XRP and HBAR and XLM and Algorand and, Constellation DAG and all this stuff, I don't think you're really going to see its true value for quite some years, right? And you just got to understand that over the next six to 12 months, people are going to speculate, and like how much speculation, it's going to depend on the news, right? And the partnerships and anything like that. What do I think of BitUnix? I don't, T-Roy, I don't use BitUnix, so I really don't have any. I wish I could help you. I just don't have any knowledge to give you an opinion. So sorry about that. Obviously, when you're using an exchange, if you're using an exchange that is not like, Coinbase or, Kraken or something like that. If it's kind of one of these exchanges that is maybe in the top 100, but like more kind of closer to 100 than the top, one exchange, there's a lot of risk that comes with using exchanges like that. They can go down in a heartbeat. They can, usually they're located in countries that you have no, you can't really do anything if something happens to those type of exchanges. So just be careful where you have your crypto. Yeah, that's going to be another thing too. Quantum attacks. Did you see BlackRock? I couldn't find the word. I was like, where's the word? Did you see BlackRock put out a warning to their customer base about a quantum attack on Bitcoin? Did you see that this week? Let me see if I can find that for you so you know what I'm talking about. So I'm not just like this random person thinking and like, hey, this happened. BlackRock warning on Bitcoin. Let's see if we can pull this up. No, that's not it. Okay, you know what? I'm searching the wrong thing. BlackRock warning on quantum Bitcoin attack. Let's see if that pulls it up. Yeah. No. Yes. I think this is it, right? If quantum computing is able to advance in a way, there is a risk that quantum computing could result in the cryptography underlying the Bitcoin network becoming ineffective, which, if realized, could compromise the security of the Bitcoin network or allow a malicious actor to compromise the wallets holding Bitcoin owned by the trust of others in the Bitcoin network, which could result in losses to shareholders. I think, this has been in the filing for quite some time. BlackRock is covering CYA, right? Covering their asses. But I think, quantum attacks are something that we've been talking about on this channel, right? You are seeing quantum computing becoming more of a conversation. And I think quantum computing mixed with AI could be very dangerous, right? And it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before a bad actor gets a hold of a quantum computer. Now, when will that happen? Could it happen over the next few years? Who knows? I mean, I thought I saw something about them wanting to be able to sell quantum computers to like retail and people. I don't know how they're going to do that. But yeah, I figure, China, Russia, North Korea, excuse me. Those are the three. Iran could put the money together for a quantum computer. They'd have to like steal the technology from somewhere, right? And build it. I'm sure it's not cheap. They have to, these things run at like a negative, what is it, like 365 degree Fahrenheit. They have to be like space, right? Space is where quantum computing really kind of can flourish. And like even like I was seeing like, I think it was like Stanford or one of these schools has one, and like a vibration coming from a truck driving on a road above can sometimes cause the computer to make miscalculations. But I think we, as a race have been the smartest beings living on planet Earth until we've created something that much smarter than all of us. And, what does that future look like? I don't know, but it is a real concern. And, BlackRock wouldn't be telling their customers it's a concern with, unless they felt it was. So Jonathan says, thoughts on Christine Lagarde and co-plans for digital year for October? Well, when I listened to the Christine Lagarde, so if you're not familiar, Christine Lagarde is now the head of the European Central Bank. She was the head of the IMF up to I think 2020 or 2019 or something like that. I don't know, she did something, and so she got the boot. But she is the decision maker at the European Central Bank, and she's obviously worked at the IMF when there was all this testing being done on XRP and XLM and Circle, and she's she's been quoted talking about disruptors in the crypto space, disrupting, legacy systems like JP Morgan, all these guys. I think they've figured out what technology they want the CBDC to be issued on. I think they need Parliament and the people to pass legislation to allow this new like digital tender, right? And so laws and things would need to be upgraded to allow this CBDC. And I think that's what they're waiting for is either the Parliament to tell them go ahead and do it, or the Parliament's going to say it's not, we're not there yet, right? And so I think they've obviously decided on what technology it's going to be based off. We don't really have definitive 100% proof, and things can change. But obviously, I'd imagine the XRP ledger is something that they've tested. So we'll see. I've heard of the Elliott wave theory. I just, off the top of my head right now, nothing's clicking. So I'll have to research that. I have heard of Crypto Hulk, Matt. Yes. Any particular reason you asked? I wish I could highlight this. Hold on. Let me do this. Oh, it's probably going to have music in it though, or something. It's hard to play TikTok videos on YouTube because YouTube, it seems like YouTube, I don't know. It's hard for me to, if you want to send me that like in DMs, I'll take a look at it, but I can't do much. Good night. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. At which scenario do you think BlackRock will file XRP ETFs when BlackRock customers ask for it? That's what caused them to do the Bitcoin ETF, is they had like hundreds of thousands of searches for a Bitcoin ETF, and it's going to take people to push BlackRock to do it, I think. There is, when it comes to ETFs, spot ETFs, when you're looking at the market right now, I think there's about 70 ETFs that have been applied for. And you see the most, like out of the 70, 20 ETFs are XRP related. And I think out of the 20, I think like 4 or 5 are spot related. I could be wrong on the 4 or 5. But XRP is the most sought after ETF currently right now in the crypto space. Will some of the bigger players come in eventually? I would imagine they would. Yeah, I would imagine. I played a clip earlier from JD Vance. I don't know if that's what he said during the clip, but I don't know. Bitcoin equals Ponzi. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't trust Bitcoin. I get it. I understand. And, I think Bitcoin right now, at its current standing, it's only going to make someone that's already, 100 millionaire or a billionaire already. They're just going to make them more rich. And I think like if we really wanted to do good for regular people, supporting, XRP and Chainlink and Solana and these type of ecosystems, you probably would do more good than just focusing on Bitcoin. But that's, my opinion is, heavily weighted in, I believe XRP is a superior asset to Bitcoin. They're telling us that it is, right? Bitcoin maximalists everywhere are telling us how Bitcoin is just a great store of value. That's what we've gotten to. I don't know if you've listened over the years about Bitcoin being the technology of the future, as opposed to here to replace banks and this and that. And now they just talk about Bitcoin being a store of value. I just think it's interesting where they've now put Bitcoin. They have put Bitcoin in its own little box, and it's called the store of value box. But like, people aren't just interested in the store of value. They're interested in, being a part of the next financial system. And I think that's why people are making bets, off the information that they've seen on XRP and HBAR and XLM and Algorand and all these other assets, Ondo, and they think that might be better than buying Bitcoin at 100,000. I get it. Thank you. Thank you. I know. I wish I could get like a referral for Perplexity. I use it so much. And like, listen, AI is a really good tool. It's a really good tool. It's not perfect. Right? It relies on the data that it is learning from. And if that data is corrupted, obviously that AI could be corrupted. So it's always good to like check different sources. But if you're looking up a certain thing, somebody said like, hey, this new partnership or this, you can easily within 5 to 10 seconds know if that's legitimate or if it's a scam. And I think like we would have less stuff like this, where people are posting this stuff on Twitter. Like if you just would have did what I did, which is search this document in AI, they told me right away that this was not a legitimate document, right? So you just upload the document, you save the document on your desktop, and then you load it in the search parameters down here with this connection attached files. You can load it in, and it'll give you a pretty good understanding of what's actually happening. So I'm glad you like it, man. Sensei, have you seen the robots attacking the owners and controllers? I mean, I think this is every like sci-fi movie about the future in like AI and robotics, right? Like, Will Smith had a pretty, famous movie about it, right? Is that a reality in the future? I think right now with AI, lawmakers and regulators don't want to talk about it. But I think you absolutely need to talk about it, because right now there's a space race going on with AI with the US and China and other countries. And the US is actually, they're building a what is it? It's like Oracle, OpenAI, and I think it was Seagate invested $100 billion in building a AI facility down in Texas. I say down in Texas like I'm in California. I don't know which way Texas is, like that way. I don't know. Man, you know what? I saw this here. Let me see if I can find this video really quickly on my phone. You wonder like what I watch when I'm not, researching crypto. I have a lot of extra things that I like to do, but I like learning about AI and, different aspects. I'm just trying to find the name of this video, because this is a very detailed report on it was an Emily Chang. I think it was Emily Chang who did this interview. Hold on, I'm just trying to look through my recent videos. Hopefully I didn't pass it. Hold on, let's see AI. Aha, here we go. I got it. Here. So YouTube, share this tab instead, and then inside OpenAI's Stargate Mega Factory. Here, this is it right here. They built this $100 billion, or they're building this $100 billion super site down in Texas. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I will give you guys this video, but I think right now we're not having a proper conversation about how to protect people away from people abusing AI. And I think that could come back to bite us, obviously. So I don't know. We'll see. Bitcoin is doomed in the end. I think it's going to take something really big to doom Bitcoin. It's, we talked about this earlier. It's either going to be like a 51% attack, something to do with AI or supercomputing, quantum computing, or, people are going to figure out who is really behind the Bitcoin network. And if it's like a 3-letter agency, like a government agency in the US, I think that would do it. Scarface, are you still here? You've been here the whole time, 2 hours and 28 minutes. Sensei, once all the Bitcoin is mined and owned, does the price stop going up? I don't know. I mean, because it's based off of speculation, right? I know it's like hash rate and all this other stuff. I don't know. That's a great question though. If I had a time machine, I don't know if I'd be going back in time and buying Bitcoin in like 2010 or something, or if I would be going forward in time. Will Smith, yes, an actor. iRobot, thank you. The original OSOK. And good to see you, man. I hope you're doing well. John, great to see you, John. Morning sunshine. How are you, John? No Ariana tonight. I haven't seen Ariana today. I think you know, I don't know. I think she might have been busy. I wasn't able to live stream on Tuesday. I wasn't feeling well. And you know, I don't know what, I haven't talked to her in the last few days. So man, we've been talking about Zbic a lot here, Kendall. Man, you look sharp in that suit, Kendall. You look sharp, man. What are your guys' thoughts on Zbic and its run this month? Same say it has an XRP connection. Yeah, actually, it does have some connections. It looks like the team from Zbic and the team from Ripple are trying to figure out some ways to work together. And we looked at this just a few minutes ago, maybe like 10, 15 minutes ago. I did an AI search. I'm going to leave the AI search down below here. I'm going to hit enter. If you pull that Perplexity search link up, you're going to see all of that research on Zbic and Ripple. If you want all of those connections, you can either read it yourself or you can back the video up like 15 minutes where I go over it. But great to have you here, Kendall. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for all the wisdom. That's why you're called Crypto Sensei. You're actually living up to the name. You know, the name is not one that I gave myself, actually. The name is actually something that was given to me by the community when I first started in crypto. And the name stuck. And I thought the name was really cool, you know? I can't remember who gave me the name, though. You know, I just like to share information and talk with people. And someone said, you're like a crypto sensei. And I was like, oh, cool. That's a cool name. You know, I'll take that name. I guess it could have been a lot worse, right? Could have been like something really strange. And then, you know, Sensei, watch the robot attacking the guy video. There's a robot attacking the guy video. Robot attacking a guy. Oh, is it this one? Oh, yeah. Is it this one? I've seen this. I have seen this. I bet you I can pull this up on Twitter, though, and not get like, what's it called? Yeah, I've seen this clip, actually. Oh, is this one? Now, see, like, you know, I get why people do this, but like me personally, I'm not trying to get on the bad side of any AI system or a robot, man. Something bad's gonna happen. Oh, damn. Yeah, I think there's a lot of issues with this, right? Is this one you're talking about? This guy's, y'all, you punking me, dog? You punking me? I don't know, man. And then here's this one. Yeah, this is like, it's on a hanger, and this one just started snapping, going out of control. Look, they got this thing on a hook, and they're like, man, maybe we should have got a stronger hook, you know? Yeah, man. I don't know. I think we need to be a little kinder to. Do I follow Jay Claver predictions? I think you're talking about Jay Claver predicting XRP to $1,000 in 2025. Is that what you're talking about? We've talked about this a lot on my channel. You know, I think Jay Claver's a brilliant. You know, he has connections. He's got, you see his eyes too, man. That dude's like straight, like he's got some really nice blue eyes. It's so hard for me to focus. Like when I'm watching a Jake Claver clip, I'm like, I'm looking at the dude's eyes and it's like super blue. And I forget what the clip is about. But I know what you're talking about. I play a lot of his clips in you know, my videos and content because I think Jake's a very smart guy. And you know, I'm not here to poop in his punch bowl. You know, he he thinks that's a possibility, and you know, I hope he's right. I don't see $1,000 XRP in 2025 unless something like crazy happens with, you know, supply and not having enough XRP on the open market. Like, you would need the world to wake up tomorrow and everyone wanting to buy XRP to really get to those type of levels. You know, it would take something like XRP is going to be used on a massive scale for like the US financial system. Something like that could send XRP to like stupid levels. Is that going to happen? I don't know. You know, we'll see. Great job getting out all the news today. Well done, Sensei. I think we covered a lot of stuff today, guys. How is Luna doing? She's doing great. You want to see Luna? I'm going to grab Luna here. We've been talking for 2 hours and 34 minutes. Let me grab Luna here so we can say hi to her. Come here. Come on, people want to say hi to you. We okay? How are we doing? Did you have a good nap? Do you want to say hello? Huh? You want to say hello? Yes, you're so cute. I love you. All right. Luna's good. She says hello. Right? Are you saying hello to people? You want to put on the headphones? You going to answer some questions? Hello, my name is Luna. Oh, don't hit your head, silly. Luna's good, though. Luna's really good. Yes, you're so good. You're so good. See, look, everyone's saying hello to you. Luna's a big hit. We have a stroller, and when we put Luna in the stroller, people freak out, man. Like, she'll get mobbed in the mall, too. You know? But she's got a little anxiety lately when dad leaves the house. Right? We get a little anxiety. Luna knows, like, if she positions herself in front of the door, like, you know, when I sometimes, you know, take my wife to work, I'll bring Luna along because, like, she doesn't want to be left alone for a little bit. So anyway, Luna is a sweetheart. She's the kindest. She doesn't, like, you know, when other dogs get in the elevator and like they're like barking and like going crazy, Luna will just be like, yo, chill out, dude. Like, we don't need all this hostility in the elevator, you know? Right? We've gotten like $40 in donations today. That means a lot of good stuff for you this weekend. Yeah. We're gonna, you know, my wife and I are going to Brazil in September. My brother-in-law is getting married. He's been together with his fiance for, you know, years, and they're finally tying the knot. And so my wife and I are gonna go down into Brazil, and we're going to have our friends watch Luna. And then when we get back, we'll probably get Luna a friend. So, but yeah, she gets a little sad when we leave. We try not to leave her alone too much, though. Right? Because you get sad. Yeah, you get sad. Yo, what's up, John? Oh, I appreciate you, Jose. So nice to have you here, Jose. Thank you so much. Dogs are a blessing. They are indeed. I would not be like a cheery, happy-go-lucky person all the time without this one, because this one really does keep me, you know, happy. All right, I'm gonna close this out, and then after that, we're gonna go and explore outside. Okay? Yes. Is that okay? All right. I guess you're gonna sit here and just. Are you seeing yourself in the picture? Who's that? Is that you? Damn. We're all concentrated now, huh? What do you see over there? You see ghosts? Okay. I guess we're going to stay here. Sorry, Rob, didn't realize I pushed send. Do you have a minute or two? Do I have a minute or two? I mean, yeah. Do you want to talk to me, John? Or something? If you reach out to me on Twitter, I can set up a chat or something. All right, I'm gonna finish this, okay? All right. Yeah, John. Here, just reach out to me on Twitter, John. Here, I'll give you my Twitter. Reach out to me on Twitter here, and I will do my absolute best to answer you and to jump on something. Okay. I'll look out for your DM, John. Let's see here. Crypto Revenge says, I felt like it's going to bite us first, and then like usually we try to figure out the answer. You're absolutely right though. Are we talking about AI? Are we talking about the love of dogs? What are we talking about? I think we're talking about AI, but I could be wrong. Man, we are 2 hours and 40 minutes strong right now. I think I have answered questions for 2 hours straight now. Nothing really, nothing going on specifically with XRP. It's more of like the market is, the market's been pumping pretty hard the last few weeks. And so there's speculation that, it could be from a number of things. It could be that there were some promises or some things that people were expecting to come out of the Bitcoin conference, and that didn't go as, maybe as well as people had hoped. And so, Bitcoin's cooling off and some of the other altcoins are cooling off. It could be to do with trade and the tariff news with China. China news is breaking down and people are maybe panicking a bit. It could be a little bit of everything. But you get these dips. Even in the best of markets, you still get dips. So, don't be too discouraged. But I'm looking maybe like, hey, maybe I should buy some more XRP at $2. Like that's what I'm thinking. But actually, you know what I'm really thinking? I'm like, man, maybe I should have bought more ZBIC back, like a month or two ago. That's what I'm really thinking. I'm like, shit, I should have bought more ZBIC. Uphold cards are back. I see Uphold trying to do some stuff with staking. What's this procedure to cash out XRP once you get to profitable levels? So that's a great question, David. Hold on. Excuse me. What I've learned over the past few years, and I've heard a lot of people talking about this, like what would they would do if XRP hits $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000? Okay. So some strategies that I've heard are, I'm just going to sell XRP into the open market, and I'm going to take that money and I'm going to go do whatever. Right. Some people are like, I'm never going to sell my XRP. I will go to a bank. I will put up my XRP as collateral. I will get a loan. I will take that loan and invest it into real estate or farmland or vending machines or whatever it is that you think you're going to get a return from. Over the few years that you're getting a return, you take that money, you pay down your loan, and then you get your XRP back, and then you have these assets that are producing cash for you. So I've heard those strategies. I've heard a mix of both, right? Where I'm going to sell 50% of it and then I'm going to keep 50% of it. Some people are talking about, combining their XRP into like a fund and then taking money out on the fund. I think there's a lot of strategies that people are going to try. And I think any one of those strategies is a good strategy. Anything that you can still remain in control of, like taking it to get a loan at a bank, that might be something very unique, so you don't, sell your entire investment. But some people are like, hey, this might be $50 million or $100 million or $10 million. Like, I'm good. I'll just take this. I'll go buy treasury bonds. I'll earn a yield. And with that yield, I will live off that yield, right? That's what a lot of people do. I think like I was watching a interview with was a famous football player he played with Tom Brady. He was his like no, he wasn't a wide receiver. He was that big, oh God, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was saying that like, he never spent any of his money that he made with football. He spent all his money that he made with endorsements. And he said that, all he needed was $2 million because he lived so frugally, like he was living with roommates and stuff like that, that if he could just make $2 million, that he could live off that for the rest of his life. So it really depends on like what your lifestyle is, what are you trying to do in your life? Where do you live? How much does it cost to live and where you live? But there's a lot of, things that you can think of. I think even like Jake Claver works with a lot of, certain people that hold a certain amount of XRP, and there's a lot of things that he can do. I might have Jake come on the channel to talk about that stuff. I'll look into that, guys. Hello from Canada, Jeffrey. Great to see you, man. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy your content. Thanks for the daily updates. Thank you, Jeffrey. I appreciate you. What are you going to do at $4 and selling it? I'm not selling at $4. Like, I didn't sit through years of to just take the easy, dub. And like, what am I going to sell my XRP for? Right? Like, I don't know. Yeah. And I mean, there's going to be other ways like AMMs, some type of DeFi. There's going to be treasury bills on the XRP ledger. There's going to be a lot of ways to make a return off of your XRP. And I think people are not thinking about all of the DeFi Flare, right? Flare and F assets. There's going to be a lot of different ways that you're going to be able to make some money. Brandon says, hey, Sensei, big fan of the channel. Thank you so much, brother. Nice to have you here. We hear all this talk about partnerships and acquisitions Ripple is making and the effect it may have on XRP. All right. Was there a question, though, that you wanted me to answer? I think, this is like a statement, but what can I address for you here, Brandon? Let me know if there's a follow-up for that, my friend. Oh, here. I just had to look for it. It was there. It was right there in front of me. My question is, how does this go bad for us? Is it possible that everything that's going on doesn't have the effect we think? There's always that risk. 100%, Brandon. And thank you for bringing this up, because, I think, when it comes to the crypto space, I've seen a lot of things that I thought were, like, this is a great idea. This is great. The technology sounds good. The team talks it up really well. And then, 3 months or 6 months, there's a hack. The team splits up. The technology doesn't work out like it's supposed to. There's always an inherent risk. Okay. I think there's less risk when you're putting money into an XRP or a Bitcoin or an HBAR than if you're investing in money into something brand new, that hasn't been proven, has no partnerships. You have no knowledge on the team. So there's always risk, my friend. Absolutely. I think as you go to the top 100, the risk becomes a little bit less and less, but can you put blockchain back in the box? I don't think you can quite put it back in the box now. I think maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, maybe you still could have. But the efficiencies that the financial services industry by itself will gain, you're talking about billions and then trillions of dollars of savings over the next, few decades. That efficiency is something that we need deeply in our financial markets. And so can you put it back in the box? I don't think so. Not now. Could there be a risk of the technology failing in the future? Absolutely. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is set in stone. And, operating in the cryptocurrency space, it does come with a lot of risk and a lot of heartache and scams and someone always trying to game you. That's absolutely. something that you're going to have to deal with. But where else are you going to have a market that is projected to go from 3 trillion to 100 trillion in the next 5 to 8 years? There's not really another market like this right now. And, I would rather wake up every day and take the risk, right? I could make content until I'm blue in the face, until I'm 80 years old, and maybe only make a few $1 million by making all the content year after year after year. Or I can take a big risk on something that I am passionate about. And if that works, I won't have to worry about money ever again. If it doesn't work, then I'll have to pick up everything and try to start over somewhere. And I think people are outweighing those risks in their lives. And I certainly think buying XRP today is better than buying a lottery ticket. A lottery ticket, you're probably never going to win. But investing in the right crypto project, that could be a lottery ticket. And so I know that was a long worded answer, but I try to speak from the heart and experience, and I hope that helps you. Would I change XRP for cash? Yes, like that, David. So like if you wanted to just cash out and sell all your XRP, you would do that on an exchange. So Coinbase is not an exchange. Coinbase is a brokerage. The difference is you're buying the crypto directly from Coinbase, and they're like facilitating trades on the back end. And when you're on like a KuCoin or a MEXC, you're actively trading against other people in the market, right? So like you're selling XRP for $2.05, and somebody else is buying that XRP. There's a buy order for that. And so you're exchanging, XRP for USDT or USDC or RLUSD or something. So yeah, I mean, you can live quite well off of probably some of the money that you have invested in the crypto market. But I think, humans often want to, take risks, live on the edge. That's where excitement is, but it's also where heartache is, and another person's like, making a ton of money is another person's heartache, right? Like people will be selling XRP at $2.50 or $3 or $5, whatever it is. And, 5 years from now, XRP could be $500 or $1,000. We just don't know. And that's the thrill of the game, and the game we are in. All right. Shout out from the UK, Sporting Future. Great to have you here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the kind words. Rob Gronkowski, that's exactly who it is. Raylian, thank you so much, Raylian. You are absolutely right. That's exactly the name I was looking for. Thank you so much for saying that. Also, I'd love to see Jake pay a visit to your channel. I've actually had Jake on the channel a few times, I'll reach out to his team. I'll see if I can get him on the channel. Love that. Super sticker from Silcia. Thank you so much for the $4.99. I really appreciate you. The question is, what cold wallet would you recommend? So I can only talk from my experience, and my experience is Ledger. I have a decent wallet I don't use. I have a Treasure wallet I don't use. I have like 6 Ledger wallets that I do use. And I have a like if I'm doing just some like shallow trading, like meme coin trading on the XRP ledger, I will use Zaman wallet. So if you know what the Zaman app is, it's on the screen right now. Zaman, Z-A-M-A-N. This is a wallet that's been tested in the XRP space for years. It's got really good technology. So yeah. Any one of those. King Sensei, what do you do to stay focused? Some days you wake up and you don't want to look at the crypto space. but most days I get up and I'm ready to hit it. I think that when you start to really understand that this is some of the technology that's going to be used to move trillions of dollars around the planet, it gets pretty interesting to want to figure out which networks are going to be home to that money. And I think it's just such a cool space, man. There's people building all new technology, and some of it doesn't work, some of it's a scam, some of it is the real, and some of it's in between, man. So just I think identifying the right project early enough and getting a 10x, a 50x, a 100x, shit gets pretty exciting. And I think people often get addicted to those type of gains, right? And they want to see those type of gains. I've had to balance, because I get very emotional with stuff and in trading, and you're not supposed to bring emotions in, but I'm a very emotional person as it is. And so I have to learn to leave my emotions out of trading. And sometimes I buy things at the wrong time and they go down, and then I'm like, man, I don't want to be in this, and I sell and I lose, I'll lose some money. And so it's just when I buy something now new, I try to ask myself, what is the plan here? Why are we putting money into this and not something else like ADA or XRP or HBAR? Does this have value? And being in a paid community, I've had this Cryptonaires for 4 years. You get a lot of new people that reach out to you, and often want to talk about their projects with you and this and that. And some of these people can be, quite, they can sell their product pretty well. And then you just got to understand that a lot of this stuff isn't going to be here in a few years or a few months, really. A lot of new projects, for every one successful project, you probably get 100 or 1,000 that fail. It's pretty bad failure rate in the crypto space. So make your money while you can, and don't look back. And if you make a bad decision, try not to harp on that bad decision too long. I've had really bad days in crypto where I've lost, $100,000 in a day. And I've had months where I've made a few $100,000 in a month. And so, sometimes the sting sticks with you longer than the win, which is crazy, but it happens. And you just gotta, every person is different, and your strategy and trading and what you're involved in is always going to be different. And you just got to find what makes you happy in the space. And I found that talking about XRP and tokenization and the future of financial assets makes me happy. And this is where I feel like I'm the happiest. And that was a very long-winded answer. Anytime you buy, it doesn't matter. Treasure is a solid company. Just if you're buying a Treasure, if you're buying a Ledger, don't buy it off Amazon. Don't buy it off a platform where third parties can sell it to you. Go directly to Ledger's website or Treasure's website. Buy it direct from the manufacturer. Okay, that's one of the best pieces of advice. Whatever wallet you're going to buy, if you're happy with your research on the wallet, make sure you buy it from their site. I think we all, I don't think I'm more of an emotional person than my wife is. So I don't know, it's weird. I can read 20 nice comments, and I can read one negative comment, and that negative comment can stay with me longer than the 20 positive comments. And I'm always looking to do better and to be better. And, sometimes my emotions get the best of me. I like to say that I'm perfect, but no. Yeah, we're all trying to, I get what you're saying though, but I think it's people in general are emotional, and some are more emotional than others. And, yeah. Appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much. What's going to happen June 17th? The SEC finally make a decision. I would love to say that we're finally going to get to a place where we can put this shit behind us, but like they have found ways to make this continue. So I'm hoping that is, maybe June, July is the final days. The case is already done, right? Like it's just a matter of now of like the SEC pulling out of all of this and trying to fix what the judge has decided on. And, I wish I could tell you that I am a legal expert, but I am not. And like, I don't know how long this other stuff's supposed to take and what the, what the results will be. I mean, obviously the SEC has given up everything now. So I don't know. Fed rate announcement. Are they lowering rates? With that new CPI inflation numbers, you think they would be like, I know that's what Trump really wants, is them to lower rates. It would make it, it's going to come with both things, right? Lowering interest rates and printing money, right? The US is printing more money. That is going to lead to higher inflation. There's some people that believe that inflation this time around will be worse than what we experienced the last few years. And I think a lot of people know now what inflation is like. I think a lot of people that may be like 30 years old or 40 years old, they weren't alive or, knowing what was going on in the 1980s when we dealt with really high inflation. And, I don't even think people were paying attention during the 2008 financial crisis, that happened, 17, 18 years now, whatever it is. I don't know. I think people are very conscientious about inflation now. And tariffs are going to be inflationary. And what type of inflation? We're going to see. I hope they get it worked out. Let's see here. Someone says Velo is a safe bet. Jacques, thank you, brother. I've heard a lot of really good things about Velo. We were talking about Velo last year heavily. Haven't really brought it up recently, but I know they've got a lot of really good and unique partnerships. And I think once the market really starts going, like all coins start going, I do think Velo is going to do well. I think right now people are still like really focused on like ZBIC. If everyone's looking for a token that's really hot at the moment, ZBIC's really hot at the moment. And, that might be a great place to start. And then, maybe try to make a 200 or 300% gain on ZBIC and then roll that into Velo or something or whatever you want to do. Are they keeping the price low so that banks can make a decision if they want in or not? So like they, right? Are they keeping the price low? I think that's also an issue with the crypto market too, is a lot of people don't trust, that whales or exchanges are doing the right thing by the ecosystem, right? That I think there's a lot of abuse that happens. And when you say they, that's what I think of when you say that. Banks inherently have money, and so I don't think a bank's really worried about XRP at $2 opposed to XRP at $3 or $4. Obviously to us, it's like, why wouldn't they do this right now? It makes sense, but you don't quite have regulation in the US yet. And I think that's what a lot of banks and institutions are waiting for. Which cryptos are they going to be able to offer? Like, what do they even start buying? Or are banks going to work with exchanges where the bank, says that, hey, I'm going to sell you my customer Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP, and the exchange in the background is going to process that. We don't really know how that's going to be, right? But I would imagine if a bank wants to offer crypto custody, right, which means that the bank is going to hold your crypto for you, they will probably charge you a percent, right? Like 0.5% or something like that per year. I don't know what it is. And then if banks want to offer actually real crypto trading on their platforms, banks need to really understand what regulation is going to look like first and what that will be. So I think banks are waiting for that personally. And I think some financial institutions are jumping in And then some are more traditionally waiting. What do I think about Litecoin? I mean, it's there. It exists. Am I buying it? No, I'm not buying it. I don't know. I don't spend a lot of time researching Litecoin, so I'm not the right person to ask for that. What about, you say, what about Best Buy? Could I buy it from Best Buy? Oh, actually, you might be able to. Yeah. I was like, what are we talking about with Best Buy? And then the Treasure wallet jumped into my brain. Okay, hold on. Let's see. I mean, why don't you just buy it from the Treasure website? Like here, this is the Treasure IO website. Why? I don't understand why you just wouldn't buy it from this. You know, like, it's up to you where you shop. Best Buy would probably be better than Amazon. Amazon, anybody can list something on Amazon. Like any random Tom, Dick, and Jerry can list something on Amazon. At Best Buy, it's an actual company selling you something. So you'd be safer with Best Buy. You know, but I don't know if there's somebody working at that Best Buy that has bad intentions, right? If you buy it directly from the manufacturer, you kind of eliminate, you know, that middleman that could screw with you. So that's why I say buy it directly from the manufacturer. Oh yeah, dude. Like I remember when this was really big back in the year, like threw away my 30-year-old Kirby vacuum cleaner. Damn, you have a Kirby from 30 years old? I remember when I was like, you know, 17 or something, you know, somebody was like, hey, you should sell Kirby's. And I was like, Kirby's, you know, I don't know. It's just something you know, when you have like a memory of something, but you just can't like recall it too well, but you know, like it happened. It's kind of like, oh God, I can't remember like how old I was. I think it was like 17, because this is when I was still in California. I was trying to find a job, you know, and my first job was at a wireless company, but I was like, the people at Kirby wanted me to go sell Kirby vacuums door to door, and I just was not a door to door salesperson. I think that takes a lot of, you know, getting the door slammed in your face, and I just couldn't deal with that at that age. And so, God, what was this? It was a Bay Area it was a Bay Area like a Verizon. It wasn't Verizon, but it was like an up and coming. Oh, it was like $20 a month or something for unlimited calling and data and everything. Well, texting and phone numbers. This is like, you know, long time ago. This is 20 something years ago. I just can't remember the name. I can't remember the name. I bet you I could find it though. I am looking for a Bay Area based phone company in the from 22 years ago. It was one of those pay $20 or $40 for unlimited everything. Now you have me wondering what this company was called. Hold on. What could this company be? Let's see if AI can help me. My memory. Metro PCS. Look at that. Look at that. Metro PCS. It was Metro PCS. The first thing. This was my first job, man. This was my first job around 2003. I was so bad at selling cell phones though. Like I would clock in and then I would just go walk around the mall, and then I got fired eventually from that job. I wasn't good at that job. Do I hold Velo? I'm not currently holding Velo. I was currently holding Velo last year. When it pumped really hard, I took some profit, put it into other stuff. No, it wasn't. It was Metro PCS. It was Metro PCS. It started in the Bay Area. XRP is crashing to $1. That would be some crazy shit. That would be some crazy shit. I think the panic is real right now with people, and it'll be okay, guys. I promise you, it'll be okay. All right. You're going to get these dumps. This isn't even a hardcore dump either. Like, this is not even terrible. Like, this is just another damn crypto. Let's see here. Down 8%. And we're talking about the sky is falling. I get it though. People's, it's going the wrong way. I understand. I get it. I used to work for T-Mobile. Yeah. My good friend here, Dwight, he's worked for Verizon for a long time, and he works for the business side of it now. And I wasn't a person to sell phones, but it was an interesting place to start. I always wondered, like, if I would have just worked hard at that job, would I have owned like a Metro PCS store, like, eventually? Because that's what they did. Like, a lot of the early employees of Metro PCS ended up being able to franchise a store. I don't know. Would I like already be, would I already have like $10 million or $15 million in the bank? I don't know. All right, guys, listen, I have been answering questions for 2 hours and 40 minutes straight. We've been streaming for 3 hours and 10 minutes straight. I got to call it here. I got to go walk Luna. It's about 3:40 in the afternoon. But listen, I appreciate everyone's questions. I hope I gave you some value today. If I did, remember, if you could subscribe to the channel, if you want to support the channel in any way, shape, or form, you could become a member of the YouTube channel. Or if you want to take your education to a next step, you could become a member of Kryptonaires. That's my community. There's going to be some information in the description if you want to do any of those things. All right. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Thank you for spending this time with me. It really does fill my heart with joy when I can talk with you guys on this level. And, have a good weekend. And I will see all of you on Tuesday at the same time, 3:30 PST. And I wish you guys all the best. So, Lonzo, hope you do well. Brian, Old School, Second Mouse, you got Christopher here, you got Claymore Nation, Vadim. Guys, thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. I've seen some of you, like Amazing Switzerland has been in the chat for 3 hours and 10 minutes. So just thank you guys so much for allowing me to spend this time in your lives. It means a lot to me. All right. I'll see you guys. Have a great weekend. Aloha. All right.